Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you, Krista, honey. Murray, Carrie, Robin, good morning. How's everybody doing? We're a small group here so far. That's okay. How's everybody doing? How is everybody doing? Have you all been, I think we've mentioned this last time. Man, oh man. I don't know what's going on with the energy. I haven't slept. Look at my hat. Laurie. Hey, Laurie, you're tired too? Oh my God. I don't know what it is. I haven't slept properly. I'm tired too, Robin. I haven't slept properly, I don't know, in like 3 months. It's like weird. Weird. We're gonna say some prayers for Miss Donna. I haven't heard from her. She's not feeling well and she's waiting for some tests. She talked about in the last live. Is it a beautiful day in Florida? Oh, nice to see that, honey. Are you comfortable sharing where you are in Florida? I don't know if you know, Marie, if you've heard that my parents used to go to Vero Beach all the time. That's where I spent the last 25 years of my winters in Vero Beach, if you know Vero Beach. But yeah, we're going to talk about today. So kind of interesting. I asked I was trying to be a little bit creative. Okay, I was trying to be a little bit creative. Uh and I just with the thumbnails, and I thought, okay, for today's topic, I want to talk about, because we've been on this meth and the math topic, right? We've been on the math topic with Daniel and Nick Reiner, and we've been really talking about math and how it can affect people. And I also wanted to talk about this stuff going on with the blanket and the bath mat. And you're on Ponte Verde Beach between Augustine and Jacksonville. Okay, so you're so Jacksonville. I've been to Jacksonville. Hey, there you are. Honey, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? Did you get my email I sent you in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep? Like, hopefully it didn't wake you up 3 or 4 in the I can't remember what time it was. 2, 3, 4, I can't remember. You're scared. Honey, you'll be okay. Stay positive. Stay positive. Do you want to come up and chat? Do you want to come up and chat with me? Anyways, I'll have the first test December 30th. 30th. Okay, well, good morning, Rocky. Stay positive, honey. Stay positive, Donna. Stay positive. Anyway, and if you want to talk, just send me a text or whatever. Stay positive. Okay. Anyways, so it was like, okay, I want to talk about the math, the bath mats, and the madness because of the topics of the other streamers that are putting out right now. And hey, Michelle, I just have to tell you, I asked Canva. Hey, watching from the UK, Janice. Nice to see you, honey bunny. I asked I asked Canva Pro. I have Canva Pro to create a thumbnail, what it would look like with meth addictions, mats, and madness. The picture in the middle is what we got for Daniel with respect to meth, mats, and madness. I thought it was pretty funny. So the blue mats, we're sending positive vibes and prayers. I know, honey. I know. Donna, do you want to come up and chat today with me? Anybody that wants to come up and chat. Speaking of coming up and chatting, there's a mega panel I thought it was funny too. Listen, this case is beyond sad. You don't have a mic. Every time you don't need a mic. I'm not using a mic. Hey, Joyful. Every time I look at these kids' pictures when I'm putting thumbnails together, I want to cry. Like I'm gonna cry just thinking about it right now, especially since I'm tired. It's just sad. It's sad. It's really sad. And sorry, it's just really sad. And so sometimes we need to have the release, right? The more relaxed release. So yesterday I was like, man, I was listening to Shannon from Shenanigans. Hey Lori. And I thought, okay. She was making some funny comments at the end. She was pulling cards and stuff, and it was fun. And I thought, okay, we really need to lighten this up. So yes, and it's laughter is the best medicine. Absolutely, because it breaks my heart. But speaking of gravity or the impact of things, and there's going to be a mega panel that Shannon announced yesterday, tomorrow. I'm hoping to get in. I doubt it I'll get in. But if you've been here for a while, I've tried to help other channels that are starting out, allowing them, to come here if I can help them. I'm not a big platform, clearly, but other channel creators that are smaller than me, I've tried to give them an opportunity to give them some exposure. I've done that, but really nobody's done that for me, except for Justin on Clutch Them Pearls. And I'm probably not going to, to be honest, I don't want to cry, but like, I'm not going to have a car in a couple weeks, okay? Because I can't afford to get my car safetied to get my license in Quebec. So I'm going to have to walk to get my groceries and everything. So I'm not trying to be sobby. I'm not trying to have a sob story here, but it would be really nice if someone would support once in a while yours truly, who's tried to support other channels. And so I've asked if I can join that panel. Hey, DJ Autistic, nice to see you back here. Nice to see you back here. So anyway, it's okay. I know it's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's just that it's pretty hard when you have to let it lapse if you can't get your license transferred. It's not easy to get a lapse. So we'll see. Anyway, I'm okay. I'm okay, DJ. How are you, honey? How are you? So anyway, all that to say, let's get on to the topic. I'm hoping that they'll put me on the panel, but it's tomorrow night. There's been 2 different times mentioned, so I'm not 100% certain. It's gonna be, I think it's being hosted on Charmaine's and Bree's channel. I'm not entirely certain, but I think that's what Shannon said. It's gonna be hosted on Charmaine's and Bree's channel. No worries, honey DJ. That's okay. My mind's not exactly aware yet either, even though I've been awake a couple hours because I've been up all night. And a peak come together. I meant to say, what do you do when you get a pickle and a peak come together? What do you get when a pickle and a peak come together? Tell us, Joyful. You make me nervous when you adjust your chair. I'm picturing what? When you adjust your chair, I'm just picturing one of your future adjustments and falling right off that chair. I don't know what that means. What that means, Artie. Anyways, back to it. They're going to have a major panel with Justin, Sunny, It's a Criming Shame, Daphne's Case Files. I mean, a lot of creators that I love and follow. And Shannon and Charmaine. I meant to say Peach, not Peak. Okay. And then they're going to, it's just a power panel. And so that is tomorrow night. Again, I don't know if it's 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern. Because I thought I heard 2 different times. So I'm a little bit unclear. But that is going to be super, super cool. So yeah, just checking in to say hello, but I will be back in a bit so I can get ready to go run some errands. Perfect, DJ, no worries. Okay, so today we're going to talk about Math, maths, and madness. Math, maths, and madness. Okay, let's go. Let's just gonna play um just gonna play some stuff here. It's called A Sour Wild Juicy Fruit. Ah, very cool. Very cool. Okay, let's watch Law and Crime Network. Law and Crime Network. This is just you know what? It's was just a month ago. So I haven't watched it. It's took them a while
A mom
to report on this case. So I don't really know. It's probably not going to be anything. It's not super long. And then we're going to get into the really fun maths, and maths and madness topic. But I want to just watch this first because I haven't seen Law and Crimes. The two kids with no clues were Jack and Lilly. And this again, they only did a month ago. So they were a little late to the Jack and Lilly story, but nonetheless, they've arrived. So let's see what they had to say. And then we're going to get into the math, and the madness.
reported to police that her children vanished from their room, and they haven't been seen since. Their mother has been pleading for their safe return as the search continues. We're taking you through what police say happened, plus where the investigation stands now after the young kids haven't been seen in months. This is Inside the Crime, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Elizabeth Milner. Hey, by the way, there's a reason Law and Crime is the go-to spot for true crime content. Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest personal injury law firm. They have over 1,000 attorneys, and they've recovered $25 billion for more than 500,000 clients. In the past few months alone, a client in Florida received $12 million when insurance offered just $350,000. And in Pennsylvania, another client was awarded $26 million, 40 times the insurer's offer. Morgan & Morgan makes it so easy to fight
I know.
for what you
Thank
deserve.
you. I know, Michelle. I know.
Phone. So if you're
I
injured,
know.
start a claim at forthepeople.com.
Been a long freaking journey,
or scan the QR code on your screen.
Yeah, it sure has been a long.
This case has captured international attention. How do a 6 and a 4-year-old just disappear for months? Was it random? Was it someone inside the home? Did these two just wander off? All those possibilities are being explored, making their disappearance that much more mysterious.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you to everybody that shows up and supports me every live, even if you can't show up for the lives and you watch the replays and you comment or you hyper my videos or you email me. I just want to say I love you all, and I really truly appreciate you all. I really, really do. Thank you for everything that you do to support me, everybody.
Jack and Lilly Sullivan were just the sweetest little children, according to their mom. She posted this on Facebook just last week on October 13th. As a mother, I love my children more than life.
Because you're on the
so heartbroken not being able to hold my two children.
Okay, sorry. We're running 2 streams. So Donna, whoever you see the cell phone icon. So Artie Man, Donna, you're on the cell phone. There's 2 streams. There's the wide one for your desktop or your TV. And if you're on your cell phone, you're on the cell phone. And the chats are separated too. So that's it. Okay, I'm not going to stop. Let's get into this. Okay. Let's get into this.
Lilly and Jack kiss them, breathe in their scent, or tuck them into bed, dress them, wake up to their sweet, smiling faces. The longing I have for them to come back home to me is a greater feeling than I could ever imagine feeling, or put into words how I am feeling. There is not one single day, minute, or second that goes by that I'm not thinking about my children. I walk into a store and all I see is things they love, that I want to get for them when they come home. The candy they like, the clothes they wear, the toys they love.
Welcome, Stella. How nice to see you, honey.
I just so desperately want them home safe and sound back into my arms where I'll never let them go. I'm truly traumatized not being able to hear the sweet sounds of their voices, their laugh when they would sing a Gabby's Doll song house that now only makes me cry when I.
What do you guys think of this statement? What do you think of this statement? I just so desperately want them home safe and sound back into my arms where I will never let them go. I am truly traumatized not being able to hear their sweet sound of their voices, their laugh when they sing a song, when they would sing a Gabby's Doll house song that now only makes me cry when I hear it, because all I hear is Lilly and Jack singing along. Not being able to breathe in their scent when I embrace them tightly. I don't want these moments to be memories. I want my babies home, my Lily, May, and Jack. The pure pain I suffer of just not knowing where they are has impacted my life and M and my family in the most. I don't know what M is. My life and M. Who's the M? and my
hear it,
family.
because all I hear is Lily and Jack singing along. Not being able to breathe in their scent when I embrace them tightly, I don't want these moments to be memories. I want my babies home.
It's
My
all
Lily, Millie, and
sad. It
Jack.
is,
The
honey.
pure pain I
Hey, Anne,
suffer of
nice
just
to
not
see
knowing
you,
where they are has
honey.
impacted my life
Oh,
and my
Anne,
family in the most devastating way. Life feels extremely hard to keep going.
you won't believe what happened, Anne. Yesterday, after you left, I find the in court after we got off. I find the in court 30 seconds clip of Alan Jackson with Nick Reiner in court. Yeah. Yeah, no, Malaya said this statement. I know. I'm just wondering what you think about it. Okay, let's keep going.
With no answers, it is just pure lostness. Like I can no longer feel at home anymore. No matter how lost I feel, I have not given up hope that my children will be returned home to me safe and sound. I have all the faith and hope I will see them again. 6-year-old Lily Sullivan and her 4-year-old brother Jack have been missing since May of this year. According to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the two were last seen on May 2nd in Nova Scotia. Jack and Lily's mom told police that on that morning, she and her husband were in bed with their baby Meadow, but they could hear Lily and Jack playing in the kitchen. Lily even reportedly peeped her head in multiple times to look in their bedroom. But then suddenly, the kids were gone. Their stepfather Daniel went to check on them, but no sign of them. Their boots were gone, and so was Lily's backpack. On that same day, police got a 911 call that the siblings wandered from their home. Police spent the first week of their disappearance scouring the woods near their home, but still no signs of Jack or Lily. According to a May report by Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, or CBC, police called off the search as they fear the worst. RCMP Staff Sergeant Curtis McKinnon said in a May 7th press conference, "If we thought they were alive right now, we'd still be out there." RCMP confirmed an underwater recovery team searched the lakes, but no evidence was uncovered. Jack and Lily's stepdad, Daniel Martel, believed that the siblings slipped out of the sliding door back when Daniel and the children's mom, Malia, were in their bedroom with their 1-year-old daughter. Other theories have swirled since. One neighbor reportedly heard a car going back and forth near the home in the middle of the night before they disappeared. The neighbor said his home was elevated from Jack and Lily's home, so he could see the vehicle lights from over the treetops. Court documents viewed by CBC say he said the vehicle left 3 or 4 hours after midnight.
Yeah, I saw it this morning. Listen, I might do another video on Nick Reiner because we had 1,600 people in that stream yesterday morning. I gave you guys no notice, and sure enough, it's the largest attending stream. Go figure, that I've done all month. Honestly, I think Malaya didn't write that letter. She spelled her name wrong, but I could be wrong. Lori, I agree. I think somebody probably helped her, and I don't mean to be disparaging. I'm really not mean to be critical, but I think there's illiteracy issues with both parents. They're not super literate, and well spoken, right?
Into the early hours of the morning. He said the vehicle would drive off in the distance and he could hear it stop and then return. He said it remained in earshot the entire time. Another neighbor reportedly told investigators on May 17th he heard a vehicle near Highway 289 turn around by railroad tracks near an intersection close to Jack and Lily's home. That neighbor spoke with the other neighbor, saying that the car he saw was Daniel's. But police said there was no evidence like surveillance video, so the witness statements couldn't be proven. In the department's most recent update from October 21st, a spokesperson told the Canadian press that police found, quote, no evidence of any vehicle activity at that time. As such, no.
Okay, let's talk about this. We've got 4 videos today. Okay, 4. Some of them are longer. So let's talk about this. It's gonna be a longer stream. Thank you, hon. Yes, Donna. Thank you for sending some wishes to Donna. Donna needs our prayers. Kitty's having a very hard time physically as well. So everybody, just some prayers for our collective mods community. Hope's having some challenges, as she mentioned here. So let's send some prayers to our beautiful mods, everybody. Okay, what do you think here about this statement?
21st, a spokesperson told the Canadian press that police found, quote, no evidence of any vehicle activity at that time. As such, no driver has been identified, and the presence of a vehicle has not been substantiated as a key element in the investigation. Earlier.
Okay. What do you think of that? Okay. It has come out that DT did prove in another article that they did look at surveillance, and they still can't substantiate the fact that the neighbors heard 2 cars coming along. And Justin, so I could find that article. Man, if I could find that article. Justin was the first person to give the statement. Justin gave the statement the next day or that day to the police. It was Brad Wong who later substantiated it afterwards. I just am so curious how these two neighbors heard a car. Justin, no, it wasn't his brother, Joyful. It was the neighbor, their neighbor, Justin, that heard. Let me see if I can witness Jack and Lilly. I think it was the Globe and Mail. I should have pulled it up. Here we go. CBC, sorry. No, it is the Globe and Mail. Okay, let's pull it up. I don't have can I? I actually ended my subscription. But I can see here in the Globe and Mail, October 21st, it says, just the title, RCMP find no evidence the vehicle was involved in the disappearance of the Nova Scotia siblings. I'm going to see if I can pull up the dates. I know we've shown this before because, Krista, you were so interested in who reported when. Okay, so let's look at this. Let's look at this. We're going to go back to this. Hey, Wendy. Nice to see you, honey. We're going to come back into this. Don't worry, this law and crime article. I just want to show you, okay? On May 9th, so this is the article we've read many times, right? But I guess I can read it again. It's not that long. Witness described hearing vehicle the night before Nova Scotia reported missing. Now, this is not the Globe and Mail article that I'm saying that shows. It's not the Globe, and I thought it was Brad Wong. Yeah, Brad Wong was not the first one. That's why I want to read this, because Brad Wong was in my vision, and I don't trust Brad Wong. Sorry, I don't know him. I've never spoken to him. So, but my initial thought is he's got a criminal past. I just don't know. So this is not, just to repeat, I'm not saying this is the video this is the one that DT showed that he was trying to say proved his point. It's the Globe and Mail one, but I didn't continue I only subscribed to the Globe and Mail because I wanted to read one article with the paywall, and then I canceled because I just don't have the $3 a month to spare if I don't need it. So witnesses describe hearing vehicles that night before Nova Scotia reported missing. But what I want to show here, and it says RCMP say review. Oh, it does say review of surveillance footage found no evidence of vehicle activity. RCMP say review of surveillance footage found no evidence of vehicle activity. Two people who live near Lilly and Jack Sullivan's home told police they heard a vehicle coming and going in the middle of the night, just hours before the Nova Scotia children were reported missing, court documents show. However, RCMP confirmed Monday a thorough review of surveillance footage from the Gerlach Road area of Pictou County found no evidence of any vehicle activity at the time. So I was wrong. This is the article. Sorry, y'all. Donna. Donna. Honey, that's so nice of you. So kind of you, Donna. Thank you, honey. Yes, sweetie, it certainly will. Thank you. Thank you. I'll get it in January, but it'll help. Every little bit helps, honey. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You know, I love you. You know, I love you. I wanted to get a mods party together and generally on here to do like Reiki healing and stuff too, but we can talk about that later. But okay, let's talk. So it does say, it doesn't mean they didn't hear, you're right, but the footage doesn't show. So confirmed Monday, a thorough review of surveillance footage from Gerlach Road area of Pictou County found no evidence of any vehicle activity at the time. No driver has been identified, and the presence of a vehicle has not been substantiated as a key element in the investigation. RCMP Communications Advisor Allison Gerard wrote in an email to CBC. Gerard said the witnesses reported hearing a vehicle but couldn't confirm seeing one. The new details from witnesses are laid out in redacted records that were previously released in August at the request of CBC News. The Canadian Press and the Globe and Mail on Friday. New details of the case were released after CBC News fought to have some redactions lifted. The documents contain court applications filed by investigators for permission to conduct searches for phone records, banking records, and video related to the case. They include unproven statements made by police. Lilly 6 and Jack 4 were reported missing on the morning of May 2nd when police received a 911 call from their mother, Malaya Brooks Murray. She told the police they had wandered away from their home in Lansdowne Station, a sparsely populated community about 140 kilometers northeast of Halifax. So somebody asked yesterday how far Halifax was. 140 kilometers is about an hour and a half if you're doing 100 kilometers an hour. Truro is 45 minutes away, which is also 45 minutes away from Halifax. So the siblings lived on the property with their mother, their stepfather, Daniel Martel, and the couple's 1-year-old daughter and Martel's mother. On May 9th, 2 constables had a conversation with Brad Wong, who lives near the home. He told them a loud vehicle coming and going from that area in the early morning hours of May 2nd. Told them he heard a loud vehicle. He said his residence is at an elevated position from Daniel's residence, and he could see the vehicle lights over the treetops, said RCMP Corporal Charlene Curl in her written request to the court. He said the vehicle left 3 or 4 times after midnight into the early hours of the morning. He said the vehicle would drive off in the distance. He could hear it stop and then return. He said it remained in earshot the entire time. See, you're right. So, okay. So you're right. And thank you, honey. You guys are so sweet. Honestly, thank you. Damn, I'm still muted. You're right, whoever said that. In this article, it says that Brad was the first person. Can you hear me now, honey? I think you can hear me now. Can you not? You're still talking muted, but I think you can hear me now. Okay, thanks. Because there's a delay, so I get all these muted and I'm already okay. Thank you, everybody. There's a delay. So you're right. This one does say, but I've read on another one. I don't know if it's the Globe and Mail one that I can't get access to now. Because we've read it here before. Let's see if I can get. We have read it here before where it said the opposite. So bizarre. The first 2. Wow. I don't know what to say. Because I'm going to look for that. Oh gosh, if I can remember. Because you're right. This one does say Brad made the first report. And then Justin, on May 17th, a constable took a statement from Justin Smith, who also lives in the area. But I swear to God, we read an article where that was the opposite, and it was the reverse. But this makes more sense if we want to believe, like I believe, because I have my vision, that Brad's somehow got some involvement in this. Like, there's just Smith said he was on Facebook during the early hours of May 2nd around 1:30. He heard a car on Highway 289, which is Gairloch Road, turn around by the railroad tracks near the area of Gairloch Road and Lansdowne Station, which is where we found the blanket, right? Where the blanket was found that the police have later come out and say was planted. The intersection is near the home where the children went missing. It made noise, then went quiet. The vehicle was quiet for about 2 minutes, then drove towards Lairg Road. The RCMP member wrote. Justin Smith later spoke with Brad Wong, who informed him Daniel's vehicle came and went 5 or 6 times that night. Wong said the car Smith heard was Daniel. Yeah. The records detail Martel's account of the evening before the kids were reported missing. He told police he went to bed fairly early and didn't wake up until it was light the next morning. The document said Brooks Murray told police she put Lilly and Jack to bed first, then their 1-year-old daughter, and then went to bed herself around 9. She said Martel stayed up and was going to clean the house for her, but it wasn't clean when she got up, so she doesn't know what he did. And that makes sense if that's really what happened. Justin talked to the RCMP the day, and they finally went to talk to Brad about 8 days later. Well, that's what I thought. This is what I thought, but this article is getting them reversed. So, I mean, maybe we'll get some clarity on that Friday with the panel, because, I mean, other than if we want to believe what Justin and Brad have to say, other than talking to them directly, we've got 2 conflicting reports, because I know I've read it here on this channel, but it makes more sense. What do you think about this? I just want to stop and ask, and then we're going to go back in because we got 4 videos to play, and the other ones are longer. What do you think about this? Daniel was helping his mom. So he says, yeah, but what do you think about this? What do you think about the fact that we don't have evidence to substantiate what they're saying? What do you think? Do you think if it was Brad that came forward first, but in the wrong way? Yeah, Joyful, I get it. Do you think these people heard a vehicle coming and going? Do you think they heard something coming and going? Because long before this story came out, that's what I said. I told the RCMP I felt that they disappeared before it was reported. And that they walked out the front, along the side, and then went back towards Lansdowne Lake, and then back towards the pipeline, which is where the prints were found. Thanks, time will tell. So do you think they heard something, or are they colluding against Daniel? Like, was he hated by all his neighbors? You don't know? Anybody else have an opinion on whether they really heard something? Because what are the chances that 2 people... Yeah, but then I don't think Brad would want to be under scrutiny because of his past. That's true, Robin. I mean, that's a good point. That's a good point. But the chances that they would both create a story, like, I mean, you go over to Justin. I mean, they probably know each other, right? Because it's a small community. There's not a lot of neighbors. They probably know each other. But the chances that 2 of them would collude this story is weird. I think if anybody heard it was one person, they didn't even know for sure. Yeah. I mean, it could be. I mean, maybe they did collude. Maybe Brad created the theory. Justin had called to say he had cameras. Beautiful, welcome, beautiful Rose. Justin had called to say he had cameras they could look at to see if any vehicles are in the area. The thing is, Justin was at the camp. His cameras he could only show would be his ex-wife's. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Which is apparently way further up the road. Interesting. Okay. If there's no evidence, I always thought that Brad was sus. I find it odd that all these items were well, this is it, right? Yeah. This is my point. Like, what are the odds that two people just concocted a story to piss Daniel off because they hated Daniel? Like, this is a missing child's case. You know, at the time, I don't think you want to just go, hey, let's try to F this guy up. And like it just, yeah, yeah, it's true, Donna. They could have been up. Yeah, they could have been up. It's a small place, not very active, but when action occurs like Brad seeing headlights, people pay attention because it's not normal traffic. Why lie? Well, this is what I'm thinking. Brad, Justin, and Johnny. Ah, okay. You don't think they're lying? I don't think so either. Like I don't, but it's weird. It's weird because I did have a vision of Brad. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to say to you, when I had my vision of Brad, right? We were live. And I said I could see him opening the door and like plowing into the kitchen, right? And that the kitchen is as soon as you enter the door in the trailer. I had no idea that that's like, I mean, I had never seen the inside of it until the other day on Facebook. And it's literally when you open the door that you're in the kitchen. So I got goosebumps. So I had the vision of Brad being upset with Malaya for her owing money, and I suspect it was a car thing. Okay, I'm just guessing. Did Brad help Malaya with her car or get a new car? Because we heard that Daniel's car wasn't working too, right? So I don't know. I'm struggling with this because if they were friends, I guess they could have made up the story, right? They could have made up the story. But I'm struggling with this because, well, maybe I don't need to be struggling with this because I'm struggling with this because it feels like a tattletale, right? Like the energy with these guys, if they're not getting along, is like, why is Brad in my vision? Why was Brad in my vision months ago only to have the bath mat, the sweater, and the towel, two of the three items show up that he admits were on his property in his burn pile? And why wait 7 months to plan the sweater? If it was Daniel, it doesn't make sense. More out with the search area. Well, this is it. So I said on Char's channel last night, Belinda was in the chat, Shannon's channel, not Char's. To me, it was planted to send a message. To me, because yeah, yeah. I just don't understand why Brad was in my vision. I'm having a hard time I'm trying to piece it together. And I don't understand what the purpose of him being in my vision was, other than, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. I can't even answer I can't. Other than he was there in the vision months ago. So it's very interesting. But originally, I thought that maybe, and I still think that Mr. Geddes, the young one, helped Darren in some way. Okay. Or Daniel in some way. Floridian slip, Darren. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just have this feeling that he somehow was involved, and I'm really very curious to figure out what Brad's involvement in all this is. That's all. Because now we're gonna get into the blanket in a minute. And it's just weird. It's just weird. He probably wasn't making it up, but I don't know. I don't know.
This month, the Northeast Nova RCMP Major Crimes Unit took their search up a notch. This is what they had to say in their October 8th update. In September, Inspector Luke Reddy and his police dog Narc, as well as Sergeant Dave Whalen and his police dog Kit, searched for Lilly and Jack in Lansdowne Station, covering a total of 40 kilometers. The team specially trained in detecting human remains searched at the property from which the children went missing, along the pipeline and intersecting trails, and in an area where a pink blanket was previously found, all locations where there was the highest probability of finding the children. However, the teams did not locate any remains. The dogs are highly trained to detect and indicate the scent of human remains. Therefore, if the dogs did not alert their handlers, it suggests dogs were never in the presence of human remains odor. However, this does not definitively rule out the presence of remains in the areas that were searched. It means either the odor is there and couldn't be detected, or the odor isn't there. According to Staff Sergeant Rob McCannon, the acting officer in charge, he said the investigation is still ongoing. In a statement saying, each piece of information includes the results from the search teams, helps inform our next steps. With support from agencies across Canada, the investigative team is working to validate or eliminate leads and follow the evidence wherever it takes us. At this stage, and as we said all along, we're considering all possibilities. We'll keep going until we determine with certainty the circumstances of the children's disappearance and their found. Lily and Jack's mom, Malia, is still urging for help to find them. She wrote this to the Find Lily and Jack Sullivan Facebook page. To know the sweet boy will turn 5 years old next week is devastating. Jack Sullivan still remains missing alongside his big sister, Lily Mae Sullivan, and they both need to be found. 178 days missing. They are both beyond missed. A birthday should be filled with balloons, cake and presents, music, celebration, and fun. But this year, it'll be filled with such heartache. Please note a candlelight vigil will take place for Jack's 5th birthday on Wednesday, 29th October 2025 at Stellarton RCMP Detachment. The vigil will be a quiet, respectful moment for the community to come together for Jack and Lily. I'm joined now by private investigator Ashton Pack. Ashton, thank you so much for joining me. Now, Jack and Lily Sullivan have been missing for 6 months now. Where do you think the search goes from here? I mean, they're just 4 and 6 years old.
Yeah, it's a really tough case, and my heart breaks for these children. And unfortunately, after almost a quarter century in law enforcement before I retired, the cynic in me unfortunately feels those children. I'm just afraid they're no longer alive. I hope they are. I really hope that the RCMP up in Canada can really bring them home. There's always the possibility that they are still alive and out there, but as time goes on, we just understand from previous cases and the nature of these kind of incidents that the longer the time frame extends from the time that they were reported missing, it's just the odds of them coming home alive just increasingly shrink. So my heart breaks for those kids.
Yeah, and my heart does too, because I mean, they're just 6 and 4 years old. I can't emphasize that enough. And my thought also goes to their stepfather's kind of reaction in a way about what's kind of happened to Jack and Lily, that they wandered out of the home. Their boots were gone. Lily's backpack was gone. But do you buy that with what we know right now?
Mhm.
Well, I mean, it's a rural part of Canada. May, not exactly a snowy season in Canada. Maybe it was a nice day for the kids to go outside. But as a father myself who raised, 3 children from very young ages on, you just kind of know where your kids are at. So I just
Mhm.
think it's a kind of an odd statement to say that they just wandered off
Mhm.
and nobody knew about it. It's a possibility. I don't know if it's a probability of what's the actual truth.
And what do you
Mhm.
think the probability is that they were abducted?
There's a chance that they were abducted. I mean, you can't rule that out. Right now, I know RCMP is treating it as a missing persons case. That might just be a strategic move for Canadian law enforcement, where the rules might be a little different, keeping it non-criminal at this point to kind of maybe bypass some rules and procedures that they have in their court system. I'm not really sure on that, and I'm no expert in Canadian law, but at this point, I feel like the longer we get away from the time of missing, the more chances that there's some kind of foul play going on here. Is an abduction a possibility? Some kind of a trafficking incident? Absolutely, it's a possibility.
So, Ashton, I'm
Wow. I hadn't heard this before. Absolutely, trafficking is a possibility. Now that is very interesting. That is a very interesting perspective.
also curious your thoughts on why the cadaver dogs haven't been able to find any traces of human remains.
Okay, Krista,
Well, cadaver
good.
dogs are good at doing one thing: finding human remains. And if the human remains aren't there, then that checks that box. I mean, you can bring in cadaver dogs early, and I think that was a very wise move because God forbid these kids got out and were exposed to the elements. I mean, again, I don't know what the weather was like in May in Nova Scotia, but you were pretty far up in the northern hemisphere. So if there was some kind of they wandered off and God forbid something happened to them where they passed in the elements, then the cadaver dogs would have been able to absolutely ping on that scent of those children that were missing.
And how difficult is it to search like a very rural and wooded area as it is, kind of near where Jack and Lily were living around, or still kind of living around this time? But in terms of just searching for searching for them in this very rural area, what is it like to kind of do that?
Yeah, that area, most of my law enforcement career was in the Mojave Desert here in Las Vegas. But yeah, I was law enforcement in a Lake Tahoe area where it was very wooded and very dense. And yeah, those searches we had to conduct several, and it's that is such a heavily wooded area that without, utilizing multiple air assets, potential drone technology, volunteers, people who could come in and set up that grid search and start to conduct a massive search. Again, these are 4 and 5-year-old children, 6-year-old children. How far can they really get? And all
That's my thing, is how far could they have gotten? How far? Okay, we're about 4 minutes out from putting on some of the discussions about what was found, this insanity, the madness, the meth, mats, and madness piece.
reality, without a neighbor seeing something, passing motorist spotting something happening, this doesn't really sit well with me. But yeah, the grid searches in those kinds of areas, very difficult, because it is just so heavily wooded, massive amounts of wildlife up there, from predators to just everyday, animals that roam that area. So it's a tough one up there.
That's what makes this case all that more mysterious. And just going back to what you had mentioned just about the neighbors possibly seeing or even hearing.
I mean, okay, so here's the thing. I hear what he's saying. I absolutely hear what he's saying. But it's like I said yesterday about them, they could be in the backyard. I mean, we only hear now that Daniel says he heard a scream. But I heard Justin last night on Clutch Them Pearls talk about that, Okay, so he heard a scream. Where was this is it. Where was, hey, oh my God, I hear Lilly screaming when the police are there. If that's true and Daniel says he heard a scream, would you not be like, holy F, get over here, police, when they're all there? I just heard Lilly scream. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Like, it doesn't transmute to say it later. It's weird. It's a weird statement to make after the fact. I mean, maybe it's true, but that's the part that I have a hard time with. Like, long before we heard Lilly scream, we've heard Lilly scream. She can scream. She's got some howls on her, man. Howlers. Would we have heard? Yeah, everyone in the area would hear her scream. Absolutely. And so how could they have gone that far, not been terrified at their little ages, and not scream? Where you'd be able to hear her. And like I said yesterday, Lilly didn't put her backpack on and go, okay, Jackie, we're running away now. We don't like the environment here at 6 years old. She didn't do that. She can't have been intellectual enough at 6 years old to say, Jackie, we're running away. I heard a scream too. I was screaming because winter sucks. Wolfie, nice to see you here, honey. Nice to see you. I know. Yeah, like, it's wild. Like, how the hell could they have not heard? And Daniel's story and recounting it after the fact is not believable. It's not believable. Okay, let's keep listening in, and then we're going to get into, I want to play DT's interview from the Please Bring Me Home. I have AB's video, and I have another one we're going to listen to about the math, the mats, and the madness. Okay, let's go.
I believe like 2 neighbors claim that they heard a car going back and forth around the time that they disappeared, but police say that they were unable to verify that. What are your thoughts on that, especially since we're in 2025, especially since we have a lot of digital evidence like surveillance video, all of that sort, but it seems like from what police are saying, this particular area didn't have a lot of video surveillance footage.
Yeah, this is a very rural part of the world. There is not, like in the cities where we have cameras on every corner, multiple neighbors with multiple Ring
nice to see
or
you,
home video surveillance systems. I personally think that, it's just a tough play.
Hey, Wolfie, please put a prayer in for me. I'm really trying to get on the panel. I've emailed Shannon, please, for tomorrow night. So please put a prayer in for me. I'd love to be on the panel.
Eyewitness testimony. You have a neighbor who says, I thought I heard a car. How reliable can we really treat that? We've seen time and time again the science behind eyewitness testimony. And this is when people say they are watching it firsthand, where it can be, unreliable in a court of law. What did I hear last night at 2 o'clock in the morning when I was up, checking the doors? I don't know what I heard. I can't really, the brain will fill in some gaps. Sometimes people think they hear things, and also
thank you, honey. Thanks.
At this point in the investigation, I would think that law enforcement is now going to be, they're really going to be relying heavily on the computers, the phones of the stepdad, the mom, and the people in that house. What kind of digital footprint did they have? What was their Google search looking like? And these are all things that will be happening behind the scenes by the investigators. And of course, none of that will be made public because they have to maintain the integrity of this criminal investigation.
Yeah, which makes it all the more tough because I know that people just want the answers, right? And I know that police are looking.
I mean, okay. I think personally at this point in the game, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I will apologize, but I don't believe, just my opinion, I don't believe these kids walked out the door. I said that when I called the RCMP May 9th. I realize you guys think they walked out the door. My vision says otherwise. They were removed. And I still stand by my visions. And I still stand by the fact that I do not believe these kids just walked out the door. I think at their ages, I think I got to go. See you later. Okay, sweetie. Bye, Joyful. I really think there's no way they could have walked out on their own. And we wouldn't have heard them. They wouldn't have caught up to them. They wouldn't have found them with the cadaver dogs by now. It doesn't make sense to me. And when you add in all the things we've talked about recently with the risk factors that were present in this home, there were a lot of the risk factors that show up in missing kids cases that we went through a few times a few days ago in the live, and it doesn't seem plausible at this point. If I'm wrong, I will apologize. But at the same time, I've also said that I think Daniel has knowledge, but I think there was other players.
Into bank records, video surveillance where they can find it, GPS tracking, text messages. And I know that's going to be very important in a case like this, but there are still no new leads after 6 months. Are you pretty surprised by that?
Yeah, that's pretty shocking because you would usually be
Mhm.
able to get a search warrant for the home, the computers, the digital devices, even the cars. The cars today all have computers in them. Everything is downloadable. Everything can be extracted and its data can be analyzed by law enforcement. So I am pretty surprised that there's been no real advancements in this case.
Yeah. And both Lilly
Okay,
and
he's an ex-officer, and this is a month ago, 6 months in, and he says, "I'm quite surprised." So am I, and disappointed. And I hope we get some answers soon.
Jack's mom and their stepfather have reportedly been cooperating with police.
I
Like, in your
know.
opinion, and I hate to kind of pose this question to you like this, do you think that they had anything to do with their disappearance? I know it's easy for true crime watchers and people who are kind of,
Thank
in the
you,
police world to
Wolfie.
kind of believe that something inside the house might have been the motive here. But
If
what do you
I'm
think?
not,
Well,
I won't be able to because I promised I'd take care of my grandson. So if I'm not on, I won't be able to call in. I'm gonna keep doing what I planned, and if I get on, then I'll be on, and I won't babysit, but I won't be calling in because I'll have my
I
grandson.
learned one thing in my time as a law enforcement officer is just you never assume
Mm.
because you can think it's the stepdad, you can think it's this, it's that, it's human trafficking, some wolves got the kid. You just don't know until you run the investigation as hard as you can run it, as fast as you can run it while maintaining integrity of the case.
Mhm.
I have gone into cases in my lifetime, even now in my private investigation work with clients. I'm sometimes so surprised with what I end up finding to what we thought we were going to find. So I just never want to assume that. Plus, it
Mhm.
just doesn't maintain integrity of the case to make a presumption. Let these people have their presumptions of innocence. I know there's a ton of red flags, but sometimes, we've seen red flags. If there's red flags and we think that there's something not right, let the law enforcement officers put the pieces together. You can have the information right, or you can have it right now, but you can never have both.
Right, exactly. And I know that it's easy to jump to conclusions. And I hope that, Jack and Lily are able to make it very home safe. And I would hate to think that something terrible had happened to them. But again, no arrests have been made. The parents have not been named as suspects or anything like that. So we'll have to wait to see how.
So I mean, he's even saying, there's red flags in this case. There's red flags in this case. Okay, everybody. If you're just coming in here, do all the YouTube things, please. Do all the likes. This is what I asked Canva Pro yesterday. I said, I want to talk about the math. We've been talking about the math on this channel for the last few days about the violence associated with the math addictions, and how we went through some statistics on this channel on missing kids cases and the risk factors. Yeah, a lot of red flags. Exactly, Anne. Yeah, a lot of red flags. Uh totally, Robin. Everybody keeps saying it isn't a mastermind. We know this. So who is the criminal or that assisted him? Yeah. Yeah. So, but even he is saying that there's some red flags. So back to this. We're going to get into the math, the mats, and the madness here now. But I just, for fun, I needed some levity yesterday. And I thought I would do something a little fun. And I asked Canva Pro, I need a thumbnail for these 3 topics. And in the middle is the picture of the maths and the madness with the bath mat on the bottom here with some sort of, I thought it was kind of interesting, some sort of secret coded language on the bath mat, which I didn't ask for, but I thought it was interesting because I think there was a message being sent. I think there was a message being sent. And I said it in Shannon's chat yesterday. I don't think it was intended necessarily to be directed directly at Belinda, but whoever took that mat and rolled it up and brought it over to Brian Ward's property from Brad Wong's fire pit knew that it was Belinda that was bringing Please Bring Me Home out. They knew it would likely be found. And so why did they do it? Is the question. And it has to be to send a message. What the message is anybody's guess. I personally think, just me in hindsight, okay? Daniel trying to cover his you know what, okay? Let's just say Daniel was the one who was going back and forth as reported by Wong and Justin with his car that night. And he's already said, yeah, it looks like somebody ripped a blanket, Lily's blanket, half of it out of the garbage at the end of the road. And then the cops come back on. Yeah, absolutely, Wolfie. I mean, that's how I see it. There's 3 people on the property, period. 3 people on the property, bottom line. And that's what I've said here. Like, for the love of God, could they not just arrest them on negligence? They have clearly admitted that they went back to bed and these kids disappeared. They admitted they went back to bed and these kids disappeared. Yeah. So, yeah, possibly Malaya with JD and Daniel. But yeah, there were 3 of them. Possibly, I don't know who the 4th is. I would venture to guess maybe Daniel's friend, JG maybe. But I think it's a distraction. Look over here. Yeah. Well, this is it. So think about this. Okay. I said this the other day on the live. If you're Daniel, okay, you're Daniel, and you've gone out of your way to plant a distraction, and the kids are the opposite direction, in my opinion, potentially, or not where the blanket is. Let's just say that. Okay. The kids were not, I agree, Wolfie. And I said that to Mike Wilson. They did not disappear that morning. They disappeared the night before. And then this evidence came out after the fact. So yes, let's just say the kids were sent one way and the distraction of the blanket was sent the other way, right? And then you think they're going to buy your story. You think they're going to buy your story that the kids are where the blanket was found. Yeah, Friday morning was damage control. Absolutely. You think they're going to buy your story where the blanket was found. And then the cops come out and say, according to Daniel, in his own words, they think it was planted. They think the blanket was planted. Now, you're the only person whose garbage was broken into. You're the only person who had somebody rip something out of your garbage that belonged to the missing children. What do you look like now? You look like you're the one that took your blanket and ripped it out of your garbage and put it over there, right? That's what it looks like. So I think this was an opportunity to cover their you-know-whats and say, look it, somebody was in Brad Wong's garbage too. And they took it and it went up over here. I mean, I don't understand. Maybe there's another message in it. Tell me what you think. someone is planting stuff on people's properties out there. Pointing fingers might be a third party issue. A warning to everyone out there. This is about the rugs. I mean, it could be Smarty One. It could be a warning for other people. Hey, Hope, honey. How are you feeling? Nice to see you, honey. In the documents, Malaya said she put it in the garbage. Daniel and Janie said he did. Malaya's, see, I haven't been able to get a hold of the documents because I don't have the money to pay for them. So, in the documents, Malaya said she put it in the garbage. I'm going to have to go back and listen to those somewhere else. Daniel and Janie said he did. If the police were to charge them now, they would lawyer up. Yeah, I get that. They're going to lawyer up anyways. But listen, I'm not the cops. I have no idea what they know or they don't know. Okay. But I've said this here before. I'm not going to say who, but I've talked to 3 of them, right? I've talked to 3 of them. Mike Wilson's been removed off the case, which is sad, but I've talked to 3 of them. And one of them told me just over a month ago now, they had no clue. They had no clue what happened to the kids. So when I said then possibly the narrative of them walking out the back door might be something you stop looking at and you might start to engage in other theories. I'm not a cop, but that's just my suggestion if you really have no clue. So what did he say that to me? To lie to me? I don't think they really have evidence here. I think they have their suspicions, but I don't think they have evidence yet to put that together as a criminal case, or we would have heard about it. We would have seen the arrests. So I guess my thought was these 2 kids are still missing. Maybe you get them in a room and maybe they'll start talking if they're under. We see that tactic happen over and over and over again. In fact, we just learned about it with Nick Reiner. They used his drug addiction issues. We saw it with Melody Buzzard and Ashley Buzzard. They arraigned her on something totally different to see if they could get her to talk. Bigfoot planted the blanket and a couple of Oompa Loompas behind. Yeah. It's just wild. It's just wild. I agree. It's Smarty okay intertwined with drug misses. Yeah, I mean, it could be. Remember, we were talking about Hope, Jordan Getty's message potentially, if you're right with your experience that you have from your son. Yeah, I got a wild imagination too, and you need one in this case because, man, oh man, because I think you got to keep up with people that are thinking creatively on math, like people that are on math, you know? MMLO. Yes, thank you. This is why I said criminal investigation. Who is assisting them? I don't think it's a full scale, but they're the mafia. Yeah, there's something interesting about the community that maybe are very, very anti-police out there, or they have a history, some of them, of having, less than desirable police involvements. But yeah, okay, let's get into the math and the okay, this is very interesting as well. And I'm not saying I know everything, that there is to know about this case. But I told you all, I've also told Mike Wilson that, hang on, I'm getting an email from one of you. Oh yeah, I want to ask you this in a second. I also told Mike Wilson that, and I said it here, that I felt like the person who took them knew the land, but they were using like markers, like points of land of reference. And then we get this geo thing that came out. Let's listen to this, and then we're going to get into the actual interview with Please Bring Me Home.
Yeah, it's just strange. So we're organizing a search for Jack and Lily Sullivan. We are relying on community members to come and join those efforts. We're going to offer like a little bit of shooting from the hip training on walking along looking for evidence. We've had about 40 people volunteer, but overnight you've had some people drop out. So I would be over the moon if 30 people showed up. Your safety does come first. We are looking for the kids, but your safety comes first. I would say mostly family and friends,
Miss
and then there's just
Belinda.
the concerned members of the community that wanted to get involved and help search, and this is their opportunity to get that. We were not going to get involved. We were trying to stay far away from this because we felt that the RCMP were heavily involved, search and rescue was heavily involved. They were doing a bang up job from what we could see from the outside looking in, and you know, as soon as you start having conversations with the family, when any family member fills out an intake with Please Bring Me Home, we always get involved in some capacity. We never say no. Of course, it's sad we're going to search for 2 missing kids, but I think that the community and the family coming together to do this.
I was watching it when I was working on my book, but I didn't hear the leakage piece. Like I didn't quite connect that because I was trying to get my book done. I'm almost done. It'll be done today as scheduled. Thank God. Cannot wait to get this book off my plate today because it's been causing a lot of sleepless nights as well. But yeah, so I heard him. That's me. That's you that just sent me an email? I want to ask you something else, honey, too. He was making the sound of then changed to LMB car. Ah, okay, got it. Got it. Thank you. Okay. Because I was trying to get stuff done, so I didn't pay attention. But yeah. So I'll ask you something else in a minute because I got asked to do a collaboration with a community. I just want to ask your opinion on it and tell me if you think it would be something you'd be interested in. But let's listen to this
effort.
first.
And a crew coming from Ontario is hopefully overpowering that somberness.
Okay, Mikey, we're going.
Okay. Stay safe.
You guys good?
Can you describe how the day's been going so far?
It's been a wee bit stressful. Just trying to manage from the outside to make sure that the searchers are safe, and there's 6 groups, so it's a lot of moving around and making sure that they're okay. Like I've had to get 2 people out who needed to go out because it was too much for them. So that's been a little bit difficult to manage. And then just with the cell service and the walkie-talkies not working properly, it's been really difficult. But I know where everybody is now, and we've only got a couple hours left of sunlight, so we're ahead of the game. There has been some items located that would initially be like items of interest, so I'd look to be like a boys t-shirt.
Okay, I think this is the one that they did not collect, which I don't know if they went back and got it later, but I think he referenced they didn't feel it was fit to collect, but we'll listen to that shortly.
We located, we sent that to the RCMP. They're going to connect with family to see if
they did.
Appears familiar.
Okay.
At this time, it doesn't appear to be a familiar shirt. We found like a box with some people's names in it that are interesting that we're going to turn over to the RCMP. They're actually on duty today, so just in the event that we do find something. And they were very interested in the box that we found with the certain names in it that I can't say, but they're interested in that. And the fact that it's found in the water, downriver, and yeah, it's just strange. It's strange. We're going to go and just check in with 2 of the search teams. This is a rickety road we're going to be going down to reach them, though. Likely going to be picking up 2 of them to come back to vehicles so that...
What do you think they wanted with the box? What do you think they found interesting about the box? Caught on quick that he thinks the kids didn't. I know. Yeah, he said it too. I heard it too. We played it here too. He does definitely suspect. What do you think the RCMP wanted with the box?
They can come and the rest of them can get picked up.
I'm good. Anyone want out of this? Good.
Okay. So just continue on then. So you guys are going to go to the pipeline, or sorry, yeah, it is the pipeline trail, and then walk on the opposite side of the woods. It's a pretty thick trail, and then I guess just follow along the water. Do you guys think, like, see what time you're at when you get to the water though? Because you'll see you're still.
Yeah, I got you.
You're got a ways up here to go and down there. So, and I want to start really getting people out by 4.
Yeah, what time is it now?
2. Yeah, 2 hours. This, by far, has been the most difficult to manage during the search because you're having to check in with each team every 30 minutes and things come up. You have to go and talk to property owners who are upset that we're there.
I will have you charged for
Do it.
This has been by far one of the more difficult ones to manage from a safety perspective. Now that I've been here, I'm even in my own mind trying to comprehend how it can be possible that these kids wandered off and they haven't been found, especially after being in there and seeing all the flagging tape and hearing from all the property owners that we spoke with what the searching has been done. I'm having a really hard time fathoming that probability now that I've seen it for myself.
And what makes you say that?
Many things, but I think most importantly it is the amount of effort that search and rescue has put forward to try and find these kids and how quick they were able to start that process. I just find it more unlikely by the minute today that they had wandered. I'm not saying it's not possible. It's just I after seeing it, I can't understand how they wouldn't have been found that first day. We're not stopping. Like we have to stop because winter's approaching. And we will come back in springtime and do a search dependent on what RCMP's involvement in springtime will be. So, and who knows what will be learned throughout the winter. When the families ask for help, you can't really say no, whether it's a current case or whatever. We have the capacity to do it. We shot from the hip here and planned this in 2 weeks, and we were able to do it. And we were able to clear many kilometers just by asking for locals to come help. So it can certainly be done. And we're in it until they're found.
I wanted to go, as you know, I was going to go. And then because I have a girlfriend who lives in Truro, and she said I could absolutely stay with her. But then we had the forest ban. Yeah. So what was found, Krista, was the geotechnical box, right? We're going to listen to that interview now. But it's just weird. Like, why would they want that? Because it was dated years ago. Daniel's name was in it, but it was dated years ago. It just is interesting that they wanted that, to me. And there was other things that they didn't prove. It was stated, rather, we don't know for sure, that they didn't want other things. So I just thought that was super interesting. So let's listen to the interview now. It's an hour-long live from Nick from Please Bring Me Home on DT's show. About his discussion about the search. So DT show. And let's listen to this. Let's listen to this. Whoops. I have not listened to this yet, so we're going to listen to this together. And let's see what he has to say. Hopefully we get some more answers to a lot of the speculation. Oh, by the way, I learned yesterday, because Malaya was in, like I said, Shannon's chat from her live that she did sort of simultaneously to mine, I think, or right. I got off mine and jumped on hers. And Belinda was in the chat and she clarified. I asked if there was blood and she said no. So we don't know what it was, but it's not been confirmed to be blood. So I just wanted to state that. Okay, let's listen in now.
On the side of a victim's a family member of a victim, a lot of people see the impact, that a person that commits a heinous crime on obviously the victim, and then we see the impact of the court system and the media system of who the suspect is and the purpose. Nobody ever really sees what happens to the victim and their the victim family member. So we're going to get an insight on that on Saturday. So make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Without further ado, let's bring in Nick. He's from Please Bring Me Home. Nick, welcome to.
Shannon was here with us the other day when she was in the chat, and we invited her up and she came on. It's true tea time with Shannon, true crime and tea time with Shannon, or something to that effect. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact. I can't remember the exact order, but something to that effect. But we did talk about it here. Okay, let's focus on the discussion at hand here.
How you doing, my man?
Hey, yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me on here. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's good to have you. If you would tell us a little bit about how long you've been searching, how'd you get into searching, a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so Please Bring Me Home. The idea started around 2016, just with a local case to Owen Sound, Ontario, that me and a few friends were just very curious about. And after we became curious about that, and that became public, more families began reaching out, wanting us to help, especially locally, and then more people wanted to join Please Bring Me Home to help. So in 2018, we actually gave it an official name, and the you know, trying to explain what it is that we do has always been difficult, but it's really, is there always something that can be done when it comes to missing persons cases? And I think there always is. Cases become cold because there's nothing really to act on. So we try and, you know, why is nothing being acted on? Why is no information coming in? Does that mean we got to put a billboard up somewhere? Does that mean we want to do a social media campaign? Do we want to put a story out in the paper? You know, put anonymous questionnaires in bars that certain people hang out at in hopes that they'll mail information in. And but what we're most known for, I think, is just the searching aspect. There are cases that we will get involved in an investigative capacity, and we can talk about kind of that wall that we're keeping up when we talk about Jack and Lilly. But in this case, it's been, you know, it's been more than 8 months now, since they had gone missing. So we know that because there was no searching happening at the time, and it seemed like there was not anything on the horizon search-wise, we felt that we were able to get involved in that capacity. So every case is different. We have over 107. We have about 107 or 108 active cases right now, Canada-wide. We've assisted in locating over 70 people Canada-wide, whether that be through investigative work or searches or an anonymous tip that comes in that leads to the location of the remains. There's a couple that we're just kind of waiting for law enforcement to make public that they have been found before we can really speak about it, but I'm excited to talk about those ones. Really one of those, especially comparing it to Jack and Lilly, because it just goes to show that clearing an area, it's not, you have to continuously go back and search and search and search. So we searched this one area for this individual 3 times. So we conducted 13 searches for this individual. And especially if it involves water and misadventure, you have to continue to go back. So, and again, we'll talk about that with Jack and Lilly about clearing an area.
Yeah. And so with Jack and Lilly, we'll start off there. How did you guys get involved with Jack and Lily's Sullivan's disappearance? I believe it was a family member that contacted you. Is that correct?
Yeah. So Belinda had reached out to us via our online intake format. So a family member goes on, they fill out.
That's what we have.
It's quite an in-depth process now. It used to just be like 5 questions. Now
That's what we do with the family group as well. That's when Seth submitted a blank one for some reason that I was like, what the hell? But it's a long questionnaire.
I think it's about 30 questions. And then we have an intake officer that communicates with the family member and asks like 40 more questions that maybe it's better to do over Zoom or over the phone for those questions. And, you know, we start to build, you know, how can please bring me home help here? At the very least, if a family asks for help, we can put it on our social media and we can put it on our website. We may not get involved in an investigative capacity or search capacity. When Jack and Lilly came in, when their case had come in, we truly did not want to get involved. And it wasn't because, like, it's so hard to decipher, because it's not because we didn't want to. It's that we really felt like there was nothing meaningful that we could do at that time. And I was on a search in Manitoulin Island with our search leader, and it was rare for me to be on a search with our search leader. And when the idea had presented about us going to Nova Scotia and doing search, and I think we decided in that moment when we were on the ferry on the way home, that we're gonna go do it. And you know, so Belinda had reached out and she did it through the online intake form, and then we also had through our Facebook, our Please Bring Me Home Facebook, we had Haley and Cheryl reach out as well. So you had there's kind of three sides here, I guess you can say. And you know, so there were some members.
Well, I don't know if it's 3 sides. Would Haley and Cheryl not be on the same side for Nick? But I mean, I could be wrong. But I would think Belinda has her own interests, and Haley and Cheryl serve the same interests. But I could be wrong.
From Malaya's side, who
but
were asking for help.
It wasn't the Martel family or the Mackenzie family note. Okay, just to be noting. It wasn't that side of the family.
And then from biological father's side.
That asked for help, and it was that side of the family who didn't want them searching on their property, which we all remember.
Asking for help. So
you just saw part of it.
We made it very clear in that instance that we were not going to get involved in investigating whatsoever. If we're going to go, we're going to do good searching, methodical searching, and we're going to continue to be involved in the searching until Jack and Lilly are found. And we had very meaningful conversations with the RCMP leading up to that, during the search, after the search, made sure that we were on the same page with what we were there to do. And really, just if anyone wants to, talk about their thoughts and their opinions on the case and what they think may have occurred, not that we're going to say, please don't talk to me, but if it comes to us, we're going to refer you to the RCMP, because we can't have the information get stuck with us, because we're not going to
Yes.
act on it. Like, we're not going to act on
Well,
it.
that makes sense. I
Uh,
mean, they're there as a search party. They're not investigators. So, I mean, that makes sense. I would hope he doesn't have to explain that to people too often.
tips that come in that kind of flow away from this misadventure and the wandering theory. I don't know if that's what happened in this case, but that's what we're searching for. We're searching for that these children wandered off and they passed away from wandering off and getting lost.
Yeah, that's to me, that's my theory. I think that they wandered off. I think the boot prints are pretty evident to that, being the distance they were and
Okay, let's
how
talk about
closely
that.
they met.
I've talked about this just briefly before, but I haven't gone into depth with it. Everybody's assuming, and I myself assumed until a couple days ago, and then it hit me. If the police think the blanket was planted, if we can believe anything that Daniel says, and he himself said that the police told him they think the blanket was planted. If the blanket was planted, who says the boot prints weren't planted? Right? Because the narrative of them just walking out the door would require some footy prints, wouldn't it? Are you talking about DT himself? Yeah, he's very narrow-minded. And somebody sent me an email that, thank you for this morning. You know who you are. I did send Sunny. Somebody sent me Sunny's email address, and I sent her an apology. I've said that before on this channel because I get triggered sometimes with my PTSD. But it might be injected. I wondered if they were taken. Yeah. So, but I agree with that. But my point being, how could the RCMP think the blanket was planted and us not be able to make the leap? Maybe the boot prints were planted too. Maybe that's why there's just a cluster of them in one spot. Maybe when Daniel said he was running up to go check the kids, because apparently one of the boots was found under the couch too. I don't know how true that is, but maybe they had another pair of boots and Daniel went up the hill and boot, boot, boot with a bunch of boot marks. Or that night before the kids were removed, the blanket was planted, the boots prints were planted, and then the kids taken. We don't know. But if the police think and told Daniel they believe the blanket was planted, assuming that is true, why can the boot prints not also have been planted? If you're going to go all in on trying to do deception and get them to look over here by planting the blanket here when the kids were taken there, you're absolutely capable of planting the boot prints. Maybe that explains why there is a perfect line from the house to the blanket fragment and on the boots. Yes, right? I said it before, and I don't think anybody's talked about that. We are assuming those are legitimate boot prints. We're assuming. That also could explain if you're in your meth head manic panic, and you're trying to set something up, and you're going that way to plant a blanket that you had to rip out of the garbage can in your friggin' pandemonia, or it was hanging on the back of the railing, and you rip it and you put part of it in garbage, part of it on over there. Maybe you only take one boot because you're not thinking about, oh, I got two different children's boot sizes. I got to bring two boots up there and plant them. Maybe in your panic and your manic, you don't fully execute on that and you bring one boot print. Absolutely. So that's just my thinking at this point. I haven't heard anybody else think it, and it just dawned on me the other day. Why are we assuming the boot prints to be legitimate? They could have been planted too. That's all.
I mean, exactly match what Lilly's boot prints that are missing that were just purchased. I mean, down to the 29 still being on there, which I'm assuming that number that stays on the bottom of the boot on the tread is something that only happens with relatively newer boots. I would assume that wears off after a while. And so her boots were just purchased in March. So those two things kind of mesh. And so once you guys decide that you guys are going to go out there and do a search for for Jack and Lily. I'm sure there are certain things that need to be logistically managed. You know, who's going to search and where you're going to search.
Listen, I don't know exactly, because DT seems to believe, and he says he's got evidence, I don't really know, that there was a cluster of prints. I had only heard that there was one boot print, so I'm not clear. But whether it was one boot print, I think DT himself thinks there was only one size of footprint. I don't know for sure. But if you're going to plant evidence and you want to say the kids walked out the door, then maybe you go and plant a couple boot prints or one boot print. I don't know. Just saying.
Did those plans come together?
Yeah, so this one was a bit of a mixed bag to put together, because the public wanted to be involved in a search, and we've been known for kind of advocating for that public need and that want to be involved. So we put out a thing on social media inviting people out, because after looking at the map and even when we were comparing it to other cases in the past where we focused on misadventure, where these people have been missing for years, but everything had been completely cleared, everything had been completely searched, we were going in with that mentality. And after looking at the area, we knew that myself, our search director, and our search leader, we weren't going to cut it. Like, we needed more people. So we put it out online. People applied.
I just want to say, like, I thought Chrissy was so kind. And I don't want to talk about this too much. I wanted to stay on this topic. But I do want to say this because I thought it was so kind, and I didn't say it when I had my middle of the night rant about the elephant in the room and why DT triggers me. Somebody sent me an email saying they don't even think he was a cop, that he might be a security guard. And that's when she says to him, "Oh, you're so good at questioning. Like, he seems to calm down around you." And I wanted to just scream. It's not that he's good at questioning. It's because he knows he's completely buying the story. So of course Daniel's comfortable to speak with him because he totally believes everything he says. He's like, Daniel, I believe you. I believe you. I believe you. Of course Daniel's comfortable with him. He's not going to question him. He believes everything this man says. And then to learn that he potentially is not a cop and a security guard. I don't really know, but anyways, that's all I'm going to say about DT. We're not here to bash him. He's another creator. I'm not here to bash him. So let's just focus on the interview going forward here. I don't know, but yes, he's absolutely very, very pro Daniel. And I find that wild. It's wild. And of course, that's why Daniel gravitates to him, because Daniel knows that Daniel believes Daniel. Make that make sense.
But
I think
the
one size match Liz
33 active people there searching that day, and we just split them up into 6.
But that doesn't mean that they still weren't planted. In fact, it supports more the theory that they were planted, because if I'm an airhead and a meth head and I'm in a panic and I'm trying to cover something up, I probably don't have all my faculties going that I need to go, oh, I got to bring 2 boot prints. I got to bring one from each kid. So they bring one boot up and plant it. I mean, it could be not. I've also keep getting in the readings that something happened to Jack, and then maybe Lily was taken out. So there's that too. Mall cop. Yeah, exactly. That's what I heard, Donna.
Groups.
What I heard too.
If 11 groups show up, then this is what we're going to do. We're keep adding to those groups. It ended up being 6 groups, but it really focused on misadventure via water. So even if you brought up the boot prints, even if we're thinking about the boot prints, and nothing can be absolute, but the boot prints are interesting anyway. And even if you factor that in, the boot prints possibly being Jack and Lily's, the way that Middle River of Pictou flows, it could very well have been that they still wound up in that river south of where those boot prints were found, and they would have been flowing back towards where they had gone missing from. So the focus was around the water and trying to really just focus around that river right now. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, that anyone who says that misadventure or wandering has been debunked honestly, truly does not know what they're talking about. And it concerns me when people say that, because
hang on, Nick. We just listened to you talk on the news. We just listened to you say by the minute It doesn't seem like these kids walked out the door. And now you're going to come out a month later, like you're mathing the way everybody else is mathing here. I don't like your math here. Don't say one thing on CBC News that by the minute it doesn't look like these kids walked out the door, and then accuse people who don't think they walked out the door to be lunatics or whatever it is the word you used. See, I'm already like, okay, Nick. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like people who say one thing to the media and say something else somewhere else and later. I don't like that. And that's what he's doing right now. As I said, I haven't heard this before. I'm hearing it now. Nick, that's not appropriate. I don't like that. I don't like that. That isn't what he is saying here. Okay, perfect. Thank you. But he did say it. He did say it. Let's repeat. He did say it.
And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, that anyone who says that misadventure or wandering has been debunked honestly, truly does not know what they're talking about. And it concerns me when people say that, because it hasn't been debunked. A lot has been thrown at it. But I've been on the other end. I've been on the end where we've searched for people, and and it turns out that person winds up eventually winding up there where we have previously searched. Scattered remains, animal activity, environmental factors.
Well, Damien
water,
says that's not what he
all
says,
of these things, factor into it. So I think that the best thing that we can do at Please Bring Me Home is continue to focus on the wandering and misadventure theory. And if that's not what happened, then all we're continuing to debunk it.
Okay. But he did, and we just listened to it, Damien, change his narrative. He absolutely did. You don't have to agree with me, but I know what I heard. And I heard by the minute, I do not believe these kids walked out the door. 2 days ago, what we just heard now is anybody pushing this narrative is wrong. So I'm sorry. I don't agree. He's changing his opinion. He's probably, in my opinion, the RCMP gave him a little licking, in my opinion, for that statement. Okay. And now he's going to redact that statement, but that's not what he truly believes. What he truly believes, in my opinion, is what he said on CBC, which is what we heard 10, 15 minutes ago. By the minute, it looks like these kids, because of how thoroughly searched they were, the area was. In fact, we even covered when he went on Facebook here. And he says because of so many ribbons and so many areas and so many dogs and drones and helicopters, he's drinking the DT Kool-Aid. Damien, you don't have to leave, like, just because you don't agree. This is the part of true crime that is wild. You don't have to agree. We're not done listening, but I respectfully and am entitled to disagree with you. And this is the part of true crime that drives me nuts. Why do you have to leave? How are we going to solve a crime if we can't learn to discuss things together? You don't have to agree. I don't have to agree with you. I said I respectfully disagree. We're not done listening. At that point in time, he said what he said. So, I mean, if you want to go, that's fine. But this is not the community for you then, because we like to have debates. Many don't agree. Exactly. It's just stupidity and childish. But I don't agree with your statement because we just heard the opposite. Sorry. Now, he's not done explaining himself, but in that one statement, he said it. And if I have to go back and play it again, I will. He said what he said, period. If you are still following this narrative, you have a problem because they could still be out there, which is exactly the opposite of what he said. I think the more it goes on by the minute, I don't think these kids walked out the door. Do I think he got a licking from the RCMP for that statement? Yeah, I do, because I sent it to them. I sent his statement to the RCMP.
And there's no harm in that. Getting involved in any other capacity in this case, I think, is wrong. I think that people can communicate this and talk about ideas, sure, but communicating about these children, I think, is important to a lot of people. But getting involved in an investigative capacity when I have had many conversations with RCMP, and I'm confident in what they're doing right now in the investigative capacity and the search capacity. So yeah, it's I can't even remember your question now because I just kept rambling, but yeah.
Yeah, no, you answered it. You know, it was referencing like how did you logistically handle it? Who did you get and where
Yeah.
did you search? And that makes
Yeah.
sense. And I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. You know, at the end of the day, I think that the RCMP has been super open.
Well, this is
You know, whether
it.
it was
This is the
because the
point.
media
Like,
pressed on it or not, but they've released documents.
I mean, we're just talking out loud here to try to figure out what the heck happened to these kids. And you don't have to agree with me, and I don't have to agree with you. It's my channel, and I can respectfully disagree without you having to take off like a petulant child because I don't agree. I do it too. Sometimes I act like a petulant child when somebody comes into my chat and doesn't agree with me. I get it. We can all trigger each other, especially when it's sensitive topics like this. But I didn't ask you to leave. And I didn't force you to have to take on my opinion. I'm just disagreeing respectfully with what he just said here.
On their investigation. And, you know, the documents are what they are, and they say what they say, and the investigation is what it is. And I think at this point, even RCMP are probably leaning heavily towards the one.
That's exactly right. Remember, they were going to go back with the search cadaver dogs, and that ended. I think he did say something that he did. They absolutely were planning on coming back out, and then that got delayed. He's introducing a contradiction, which is very important. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, he did change. The plan was to search with the cadaver dogs, and that got changed. Why? Why did that get changed? I think the RCMP entertained him being out there because they can't really say no to the search for a missing child. And Belinda requested it, as did Cheryl and Haley, apparently, according to him. And they can't really say, but to bring cadaver dogs and go into buildings is a whole other conversation. They would initiate that kind of search. They would initiate that search. So that's my belief as to why the parameters of the search were so narrow. You know, they were narrow.
Wandering off theory. Now they're still doing their due diligence. They brought in cadaver dogs and they searched heavily on Daniel's property, you know, just in case. But as much as they searched there, they also searched into the woods and into where the boot prints and where the blanket were found. And so, you know, all those things kind of point towards, you know, crossing their, you know, their T's, dotting their I's, and ensuring that they're doing, they're making sure of everything.
Really?
But so when it comes to the searches, I'm sure you've been on many searches with dogs. Can I assume that?
Yeah.
And the dogs that were used that day, I know you weren't a part of that, but they were open air scent dogs. And from what I understand, there's a bit of a difference between air scent and tracking dogs. Would you mind explaining that if you know?
Like, so I haven't had any training in canine handling, but I've been with many different like canine handlers over the last decade since the idea of Please Bring Me Home began. And we've had the ability to go along with tracking dogs at quite a distance. When it's a tracking dog and it's a scent dog, I find that very different than a cadaver dog when you're looking for decomposition of remains. But I think I don't know what exactly happened that day with the RCMP, but from what I've seen and the conversations I've had with them, I haven't heard or seen anything that they have done or not done and been like.
Yeah, they said up front throughout their weekend search, they were planning on coming back later after the weekend. They were going to extend their search and stay with the cadaver dogs. And then he said, I guess we're coming back in the spring. So just my spidey sense was that he was told he's not doing the cadaver dog search by the RCMP. That's just my impression.
Why? I wonder why they did that, or I wonder why they didn't do that. So I think that whatever dogs they chose to have in there, and whenever time they brought them in, was
okay. Well, we'll
listen.
listen.
The right call. We've had cadaver dogs
listen, beautiful Rose. Thank you.
Since our search, and a canine team that we've worked with.
Well, let's find out. Let's find out
on Dylan Mueller, and you know, I'm very. It's not 100%. You know, a dog's going to go in and it's going to do the best job that it can do, but it's not 100%. Just like if I go in and search an area or anybody else goes in and search an area, it's not 100%, but it's as close as you can really get at that time. Nothing beats boots on the ground.
I so wish that Please Bring Me Home had canines that our group, the Find Me group, could go. Because if you remember when Kelly Snyder attended my live, he said that our group of canines are her cadaver dogs from our the Find Me group, findmegroup.org that I volunteer with. That our canines are specifically trained out in Arizona and they do specific testing. And our cadaver canines from our group, the findmegroup.org, has never, ever missed finding a cadaver. Ever, 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 ever. They're specifically trained. Not that I want these kids to not be alive and I don't want their bodies to be, out in the woods anywhere. I'm just saying it's unfortunate that whatever cadaver dogs were used, I don't know how well trained they are, but we don't have access. I don't know if Kelly Snyder would bring his dogs up to Canada. I really don't. I can't speak for him. Our dogs, but some are better trained than others.
And walking in the woods, but yeah, I trust the canines that were used anyhow.
Well, I think that the reason why they used specific dogs that they used was because there was another search. There was another search that was going on.
Yeah,
I think at Eden Lake there was a missing kayak or something like that, and they had
I heard that.
They had a search team and they had the dogs out there. I'm not sure if you could answer this, but what kind of challenge
could be, Krista,
is that? Like if you were on that search team and you're searching for a kayaker, and then all of a sudden it goes from that to searching for two kids. Like, I'm sure you got to pick up things. I'm sure you got to set up. You have to make a game plan. Like, how fast do you think that's feasibly possible to go from one search, stop, travel down to the other place, even though it may be relatively close, and then begin the process of another search?
I think in these situations, like, of course, there's missing children, so it comes with this level of anxiety, no matter how trained you are as a searcher or how long you've been doing it. I can only imagine that it comes with this level of, like, we have to get out there and go. Mm-hmm. But I think that I truly think that the more success happens if you do take that moment and do take a little bit of time to actually get set up to go properly. Going from an active search to another one, I mean, I don't know. I've never had to do that, because when we go out to search, it is geared towards what we're there to do that day for that specific case, and it's not like we're getting pulled somewhere else that day. But I can only guess that I would guess a minimum an hour to get organized to then go start your searching. I would be my guess. And a lot of the times when we go, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you again, but a lot of times when we go, we have the ability to plan weeks in advance.
Yeah.
And whereas in this case, if two kids are missing, we have to go now. And so you may not have a lot of time to set up and go, but I don't know how it went that day. After being on the site and seeing all the pink ribbons, speaking with our CMP, speaking with G-Star, like, I'm confident that what they did on that early onset, especially when they were searching for these kids, and even since we've been, how do I word this? Like, whatever search we do, we always make sure we have a communication line with the appropriate member of law enforcement. So in this case, whether that's email, some of them will say, email me if you find something, or some will say, call my cell, and some will say, call 911. In this case, we were given the private number of a lead investigator with the RCMP for Jack and Lilly's case. So anything that we had found that day, we felt that they needed to know right now, it couldn't wait until the end of the search day, because those were the two options. Then we would text the picture of the item. Okay,
so did they text? No worries, Jane Doe, honey. Nice to see you. Did they text them over every item? I'm listening. I have to go back to work. No worries, honey. Have a good day. If we don't see you back in here, but thank you for being here for a little bit and for listening. I hope he explains whether or not they had some items that they chose not to send, because like that one that looked like it had been, that t-shirt that we saw in this clip that by the water that looked like it had been burned, I was hoping that that would have been sent, but I don't really know.
along with coordinates, and they would in real time verify on their end, is this of importance? You know, however they did that, I don't even know how to do that. And I don't need them to tell me that they're going to go collect it, or that they, you know, unless it was of great importance. So this one instance, we had located a towel, and when this team had opened up the towel, there were bones in this towel. And so, you know, I had got called over there. I took pictures. I didn't have any signal, so I had to drive up the road, and I asked the team to wait there. I sent the pictures to our forensic anthropologist in Toronto, who got back to us within 10 minutes saying those are animal bones. I still sent that to the RCMP, just in the event that,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
it's a picture. I trust our forensic anthropologists, but I sent it to them. And then this is in the same area that we found what seemed to be a boy's t-shirt. And
Boys t-shirt.
I sent it, and you know, the investigators did what they did to try and prove, you know, is this Jack and Lily's? I can only imagine it's possible. Maybe they're speaking to parents or family. Is this shirt recognizable? But they got back and would tell us, you move on, don't worry, we don't believe this is related. But afterwards, when we're looking at the picture, I say this because afterwards, when we're looking at the picture, we had messaged the investigator again, and it was weighing on us about this t-shirt, and they just sent someone out to go get it. And I'm like, fantastic, thank you for doing that. There was another instance where we're reviewing pictures that night, and we saw this foam in the water, in the river, in the background of one of these pictures, and you could pick out some colors like under that foam. And again, it was weighing on us, so we had sent that to the RCMP. They then, over the next couple of days, sent GSAR out, and then we also went out a few days after to just make sure that we were able to locate it as well, and we did. And again, it's just that debunking it and then not leaving anything to chance. So
Good.
you know, in that event,
I'm glad to hear this.
RCMP was fantastic.
I'm glad to hear that they, you know, they thought about it. They went through some pictures that night. They really deliberated, or he did, over what was important or not. And then they chose to resend things or send whatever they felt needed to be looked at. I'm glad that that was done later, you know. I'm really glad to hear this.
To deal with on this search. They didn't owe us anything. We find items, we take pictures, we give the coordinates. Whatever they choose to do with those items, I trust that they're going to do the right thing. You know, we don't collect items. If we're like, we're going to just take it, we don't collect items and take it off site. So, you know, it was a seemingly flawless communication line between us and the RCMP.
That's great. You know, and I think that was a question mark from some folks. Some folks thought that maybe perhaps the RCMP was against the search. It's good to hear that they weren't and that they were supportive. And
yes, it is, except, and I read you the statement from Kelly Snyder, because at the time I was asking him to come on here to talk about Jack and Lily, because he came on to talk about Sebastian. And I said that they're only letting Please Bring Me Home search outside, not in any buildings. And he didn't think that was appropriate. Kelly thought, from the Find Me group, the same organization as Please Bring Me Home, except Kelly's been doing this for 45, 50 years. First as a Secret Service agent in the United States, and now with Please Bring Me Home, or Please Bring Me Home, the Find Me group, .org for 25 years, that they should have not narrowed the search. So there was reasons that they constricted the search. So they were very happy to have them out there outside. They didn't want them inside. And I don't know why that is. We're probably never going to find out, but they were restricted in their search to a certain extent.
You know, you guys going out there, was this the first time in that part of Nova Scotia for you?
Yeah, well, I was in Truro earlier in the year to do a search for Dylan Mueller.
Okay.
I don't normally go on searches anymore because I'm the executive director, so I'm trying to focus on, you know, bringing on new members, assisting new cases coming on, building out the website, you know, just whether it be, you know, speaking at events about Please Bring Me Home, and doing more of those director things. But I love, like, searching is what I love to do.
I don't know. We're going to find out, Lori. I don't know, honey.
A few months prior to this.
I don't know.
But I've never been in this search was the toughest I've ever been on. The terrain was difficult. You're 50 feet in the woods and you are turned around and you are soaking wet and you have fallen 3 times already. Like, it is rough area. GSAR warned us about it. RCMP warned us about it. And to your thing earlier as well, RCMP was never against us going. They can't ask us to go and they can't tell us not to go.
See, that's exactly what I said. exactly what I said at the beginning of this. A family member has asked them to go search for a missing persons case. I don't think they're legally entitled to say no. I don't think they have the bandwidth. And would they have if they could have is another question. They didn't, they restricted the search to a certain extent.
And we got that out of the way right off the hop. We just wanted to make sure they understood we're just coming in as a resource to assist. And we're not investigating. We're not
Yes.
interviewing witnesses and asking
Hence,
questions. We're just going to go out and do some
hence why you cannot go inside buildings.
good searching and
You're
provide.
not here to investigate. You're here to look for missing kids who have wandered out the back door, not investigate. And this is why they were limited in their scope. And I believe the RCMP are the ones that limited them, as much as publicly we are okay they came to search, because publicly we can't deny it. And this is what I say all the time. Yes, it's what I say all the time. The public narrative and what really happened are not the same thing, most likely, okay? This is his public-facing statement. Different from the one he gave before he got the feedback from the RCMP about this doesn't look like they walked out the door by the minute. This is after he's been told what they thought about that statement. In my opinion, you don't have to agree with me. I don't think they liked his statement because it disparages them and they just walked out the door.
Data to you, right?
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned the terrain, and that was where I was going to go next.
I'm trying, Jane. I'm trying.
To be very heavily forested.
I mean, all in all, I trust the RCMP. I do. But are we trusting what they're telling us? No, and we shouldn't. They don't have to tell us, and honestly, anything. So do we trust the narrative they're pointing towards that they're publicly making statements about? I don't. Because so do I trust that they're trying to find the kids? Yes. Do I trust that they have a huge skill set with this? No. Do I trust they have enough resources to have done this properly? No. Do I trust what they put out in the media to be actually what's going on? No. Do I generally think they want to find these kids? Yes.
You know, I saw some other search and rescue teams that were out there initially. They were talking about the terrain and how dense it was and how it was hard to walk through. If the kids wandered off, do you think they may have stayed closer to these open paths and open walkways?
I would be surprised if they got in more than 10 feet into some of these woods. If they did,
See?
I think that, you know, in all of the data that we looked at and some of the data that we've got.
So this is the part that Damien was trying to tell me to be calm about, but that doesn't dispute what he said earlier. It doesn't negate what he said earlier.
It's more likely they would have stuck to pathways, what's easily accessible to them. They may have tried to get off that pathway for whatever reason, but I think it would have been brief, and they likely would have just gone back on what was easiest to walk. But you get down one of those pipeline trails, and there's so many little forks off that go in different directions that may look to them to be easily accessible. So
interesting, yeah. Yeah, that was one of the things that I was wondering too about the pipeline, because I mean, we can only look from Google Earth, and Google Earth shows like a handful of trails that you can see from the satellite image. And what you're saying is, it sounds like there could be other paths that are off the pipeline that they could have walked. That makes it a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
In the beginning, Malaya and Daniel had notified law enforcement that the kids could have been gone for about 20 minutes. It appears, you know, given the documents and given everything else, that they could have been gone much longer than that. How important or how huge is that to have the timeline wrong if it was in fact like an hour to an hour and 10 minutes missing versus 20?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen before where if it's believed that the person had wandered into the woods, have made it much farther than anyone can anticipate, and kids even. And you know,
Yep.
It may not seem like much, you know, and I think that I don't know how the RCMP and Gs are set up their perimeter, but I can only assume that it was large in scale, because yeah, the parents believe they last heard them at
Sorry,
a certain
Veronica.
time, or had called the police at this time. But you really have to you want to extend that as far as possible. Let's say they went missing, just when the sun was coming up at 6:30 in the morning or something. How do we know? So you really have to search there. So it's really important. If you don't have that right and you don't have that perimeter set up, it's catastrophic, because they could have slipped past the perimeter already.
And I know everybody's saying they did show up there very quickly, right? I was wrong about that. I thought initially it took them quite a while, like hours to get the drones out, but apparently it didn't, because they were searching locally for somebody else in the water. I think it's kind of fun exploring all the possibilities. Well, we have to. I mean, we have to. Like, I have my own theory, but that's my theory. We have to continue to look at all avenues until these kids are found. That's just my belief. But the majority of the true crime has so narrowly focused on Daniel that shut off any other conversations. I guess we're past that point. Yeah. I mean, you're right. We have to start looking at, could it be somebody other than Daniel, right? Like, yeah, you're right. Like, we have to continue to look at all avenues until these kids are brought home.
Before you had set it up, I don't think,
God willing, alive and soon,
that was this case. I think that these are two small kids, and I think that if they wandered, then they stuck to the trails and they weren't going through the woods.
If they wandered, yep. If they wandered,
what path
better language.
Now,
better language. Didn't have to dismiss the other interview. He just, if they wandered. Yeah, it's a possibility. I could be wrong rather, and I'll be here apologizing to DT, and I will be the first to do it. I don't think they walked out the door, but what do I know? That's just not my theory. But if they walked out the door, I will owe a lot of people an apology, but he's using it properly now.
When we're
not telling everybody we're dumb if we think that didn't happen. If they walked out the door,
you can really start to look at not how far did they get, what time did they leave, but now we're looking at, and it's difficult to have this conversation, but how far could they have really walked before they had just laid down, passed away? Like, right. How far is that distance? And that's really where you have to start, and now work your way back. Please bring me home. That's what you have to do. You have to just, when we were doing a shoreline search on the lake for a gentleman, 110 kilometers of shoreline, you have to look at, because he could have gone anywhere. Yeah. In this case, you have to almost look at it like that in the grand scale.
Yeah.
And kids can get a lot further than folks think. There was a 2-year-old out here in Arizona that got 7 miles away. He was found, fortunately, traversed 5 miles through the wilderness, and then found his way onto a ranch, and then a ranch dog came in contact and then guided the boy home, or guided to his home. And it was a total of 7 miles that the kid had traversed overnight.
Yeah.
And crazy. I mean, crazy.
They can. I used to work in
now that case. Yes, I have heard that story, and he did get far, but it was different conditions and flat terrain. But arguably, some people have said could be harder because it's the heat. But I think above all, I don't see Lilly at 6 years old putting her backpack and her boots on and saying, Jackie, I don't know why I want to call him Jackie. That was my grandmother's name. Jackie, I don't know if that was his nickname, why I'm calling him Jackie. Was it his nickname? Because I feel like calling him Jackie. Jackie, we're running away. Let's run away together. Like, that didn't happen. Clearly, a 6-year-old doesn't plan to run away. So I just think we would have heard her screaming at some point if they got lost, because we know she can scream.
On a crisis team for over 100 kids in Peterborough, Ontario, that were under this foster care umbrella. And one of the duties on the crisis team was if there were violent behaviors happening, you'd get called and go and help. But if they ran away, and the amount of times that we would get called to the same kid running away, we would typically always catch him before he was able to get across.
Oh, is that it?
And but when he had another foster kid with him at this house, those two could make it much farther, much quicker together. And I found that so interesting, and I find that interesting with these two, especially with the data that we've been reading.
Personally, I think there should be only one army, and that's Jack and Lily's army, just like in the case of Sebastian and Rogers. Yeah, Krista, like we've heard her scream. We heard her scream. And that's what the stats on 2-year-old children wandering that far. It's easier terrain. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You know, it just, and there's 2 kids involved. There's 2 of them. You know, that's just the other thing that makes it more interesting and unique, that there's 2 of them that would have disappeared together.
Is
I don't know, man.
more apt when 2 children are together. They're less likely to turn around and go back. They're more likely to continue going forward. So I found that to be the most interesting thing.
Well, that's very interesting. They're not likely to go back. Oh, I would have thought the opposite. I would have thought the opposite, because I would have thought, like, say Jack struggled to walk more, that they would have given up and gone back. And he's clearly the experienced one in searches, not me. And he's saying the opposite. That's so interesting. That is super interesting to me. I would have thought the opposite
when we got involved in Jack and Lily's case.
Yeah, and MV, she's the one that sent me some documents, and she
Yeah, I
also
know.
put, commented on that aspect as well, because you have then I guess you have confirmation from the other person that all right, let's go. You have less fear there, and so definitely could have gone a lot further. And I know some folks are saying that, hey, Arizona is different than.
Welcome in, sweetie. We've been here a couple hours. You can go back, but we're not done yet. Just say if you're just coming in, I just have to add a little levity here, okay? Just have to add a little levity. I was watching Shannon yesterday on Shannon's True Crime channel, Tea Time True Crime with Shannon, I think, or True Crime Tea Time with Shannon. I'm sorry, Shannon. I'm sorry. Anyways, she's got a great sense of humor. I love her sense of humor, and I needed to have some levity, and I was creating the thumbnail while I was watching her, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna ask Canvas for some levity. I want to talk about the math, the mats, and the madness. Come up with a Canva pin for me, and that's the middle. That's the METH. I literally typed into Canva, not the math, the METH version. Give me a thumbnail that describes METH, mats, and madness. That's what I got. Shenanigans, yes. I'm gonna call it shenanigans. Welcome in, Carla. Welcome in. So that's why we went with this thumbnail, because it's hard. It's hard. It's a hard case. I literally cried last night looking at them. Do you like the thumbnail? I like the thumbnail. I think it represents Daniel's state of mind very accurately. Absolutely. Didn't JD state on online television shooting that Jackie boy had to be carried through the woods? I thought so. Maybe that's where I heard Jackie. Thank you. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I will be the first to go on. I sent Sunny an email this morning apologizing for when I lost my shit on her. Because if you don't know, I've got a lot of PTSD with with justice system in Canada, and I will be the first one to email DT and apologize. I just don't believe that they walked out the back door. I just don't. It's funny, eh? It's funny. Whoops.
Is really only this far if we're factoring in the terrain, the woods, and the water, what have you. But still,
yeah, yes.
No matter where you are, I think
thank you.
Children can make it farther than what people typically anticipate.
Yeah, and
exactly.
I think that there's a misconception about Arizona because of Phoenix, that the entire state is a desert. It's not. There's a large portion of it is a national forest.
Me too,
a large portion
Carla,
of up north in Arizona,
yeah, me too,
is part of the mountains. And
I
things
love
of
her
that nature.
too.
And so I understand, guys.
I never met her. I like to support younger channels. I've done that here quite a bit. Newer channels, I should say, who have less subscribers. I mean, we're not huge here. We're growing. So please do the YouTube thing, because this is my only income, which is not enough. So please, if you're watching, support and just do the likey thing, help the algorithm. If you don't want to subscribe, that's totally cool. I get it. But yeah, she just was in the chat. I said, hey, you want to come up and talk? And just love her energy. I love her vibe. I love her. I really do. She's sweet, sweet, sweet.
But the other thing is too, if Jack and Lily wandered off and they got far, I don't think they wandered off through the dense woods. It's going to be through the pathways and in the clearings and stuff like that. And so
anything is possible, but I would think, I know that when we lost Group 6 there,
Carla, I've asked Shannon to put me in the pipeline. I haven't heard back. YouTuber, thank you. I've asked, let me just deal with one thing at a time here. Carla, I want to go on the panel. I asked Shannon, but I'm a smaller channel, and I was waiting to hear back because I told my daughter I would babysit my grandson. So my daughter's sort of in limbo. I haven't heard back yet, so I don't think I'm going to get accepted in because they were only had one spot left. I'm hoping, I would hope, Justin from Clutch Them Pearls has helped me once with the audio with Sebastian Rogers. I just love those people. I love all their panels. They know the most of what's going on in this case. I would love to collaborate, but it's not up to me. And if I don't hear back soon, I'm going to have to go ahead and tell my daughter I'm babysitting and I will not be available to call in because I had already promised I'd have my grandson over. So yeah, I'll have to watch it later on, like Saturday night when my grandson leaves, if I'm not invited onto the panel. I'm not being awkward, but if there was a problem the night before with Malaya and Daniel or the kids, could they have run away scared? I mean, you don't have to be awkward. That's Lori. That's totally legitimate. It's a legitimate question. You're absolutely. Maybe there was a fight and they got terrorized, took off and ran away. You know, absolutely. It's totally. I do love it. Actually, looks like Daniel. I love it. Actually. Sorry. Children will always follow the path of least resistance just because they're small, but they could run fast if it's cleared. Yeah, they could. They could have. Can you use plus minus multiple patients division if you want the math? Anyways, and yes, and or YouTuber, sorry. Thank you, honey. You guys are very kind to me. Let's remove Daniel from the screen. So funny. It was funny. It was funny. I thought it was brilliant. I'm like, first one out. Wow, this is brilliant. I'm using it.
A little bit. And I walked, maybe 25 feet to the woods.
You,
I was like, holy, I was having a difficult time someone who searched for 10 years, getting over some of these spots. And I'm like, I could see them getting into the woods a little bit, but far, I just don't see it. Not that it's not impossible. It's just less probable, I guess.
Yeah. I don't think they got far into the woods. I think that they just kept walking. And where they were going or why they were going, I don't know. But it does seem like you have a blanket, and then along the same path, there's some boot prints.
See, DT thinks, and he says, and I don't know, that he heard that there was more than one boot print. Could be, I don't really know. But I said earlier, if you're just joining me now, if the blanket was planted, why do we have to assume the boot print was legitimate? Could the boot print have been planted as well? It makes sense to me. If you're going to go all the way, if you're going to go through the distraction narrative of planting the blanket, you might plant the boot prints too. Because you're right, Michelle. We don't have any dog scent odor tracking there. We have the boot prints that show up, but no scent tracking to the boot prints. How is that possible? We got no scent tracking to the boot prints, and then lo and behold, they're there. It's almost like what we said earlier. Daniel Martel, just allegedly, in my opinion, ripped the blanket from the garbage can or bag, planted, or somebody else in the house, and then they went up the hill with the boot and went boop, boop, boop. And then they called the cops. That's just my opinion. I mean, Shenanigans used to be a mod for Sunny's channel once upon a time. Yeah, had her up on her show. Now she has her own. I know. They're doing amazing. They're brand new, and they're kicking my butt with the amount of people that watch them on the YouTube streams. So yes, they're doing amazing. They're great. Thank you. I love them both. And a whole bunch of hearts for him. Thank you, Carla, honey. Thank you. I highly doubt DT would ever admit he's wrong. He is stick to his narrative because of his ego. I mean, it could be. I mean, he just really believes it, whatever reason. But I think he's too detached to Daniel, too. I think there's a risk when you get too attached with the players. Keep going.
And so it does kind of seem like there's some sort of trail there. Now, and I'm not sure if you would know this or not, but Daniel had told me that the boot prints from the blanket were eventually found by an uncertified dog. And the documents don't indicate that to be true. It says that there wasn't a link there to be found, a scent there to be found.
Yeah.
Is that because the dog wasn't certified? Like, can you not, if you don't have a certified dog, can you not say that there's a link found there?
Mm. I think it would be hard to blame it on the dog locating it, I guess. I mean, I'm not too sure about that. I know that, well, I can give an example. We were searching for Terry Shope along Georgian Bay in Owentown, Ontario.
Mhm.
And we had a cadaver dog in the boat with us.
Mhm.
And I was with Bill and Sheba, the dog, and then myself were in this little tiny boat. And the dog was sitting the whole time. We were maybe 50 feet out into the water. And I had put the binoculars up to look at the shoreline, saw what I thought to be shoes, put the binoculars down, and there's the dog now
Thanks, Carly.
doing its indication on the boat, sniffing out, sitting, looking at its handler, and beginning to bark eventually. And it's like, okay, so what came first, right? Like, was it did the dog recognize my change in behavior? That's what's so
Mhm.
hard about handling
Yeah, but if you
cadaver
know that,
dogs. But
well, no.
is it possible that the dog
I mean,
was with
listen,
the handler?
I'm not a dog handler, so I can't really say, but I would think the dog handler knows their dog. That's the entire point, and they should know what the dog signals mean. I would think. I would hope.
And the dog seemed interested in the boot prints if the dog was there, and then therefore, the dog was there when the boot prints were found, but did the dog truly say, "Hey, look at this"? I don't know.
Right.
That's
Makes sense.
totally could be.
Makes
Totally.
sense.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's a big difference in time too. I believe that the blanket was found around 4 p.m. and the boot prints were found closer to 1 a.m. Per the documents, and so a little bit difference in time there. But like I said, I mean, the boot prints are the one things that kind of keep me out there. Do you guys plan on going back out there and searching again once the weather clears up?
Yeah, so
I don't know why they would ever use uncertified dogs. I mean, like I said earlier with the Find Me group, Kelly Snyder, if you haven't watched that video when he was up here on our channel over a year ago now with Sebastian Rogers, talked about in the Find Me groups cadaver dogs and how they're specifically trained in Arizona and they are put through a different regimen and they have not failed once. They have 100% perfect record of finding lost people as cadaver dogs, 100% record. So I don't know why they would use dogs that are not certified. It's true. Everyone else, it's true, and everyone else, if the blanket is planted, it's not too far fetched to think the boot prints and Wong stuff planted as well. Looks like, yeah.
when we went down for the search, kind of the thing always in the back of our mind, myself, our search leader, our search director, is get to know some of the people who are coming on the search and see if they would want to continue. Because instead of dragging us from Ontario, wouldn't it be great if we've seen people do the searching, we get to know them, we get to, do all the paperwork stuff we do, and they've had training with us. If they would continue, and that's exactly what happened here. We have, although small, 3 people to start who have agreed to go out whenever weather is cleared, and they've been out 3 times already since we left. And the canine handler has been out there once on our behalf. And so throughout the winter, just because the winter's here, I don't want people to.
I mean, uncertified dogs is like, there's no point. I don't know a lot about dogs. I know Daphne. Did you hear what happened to Julia? Oh my God. If you know, I used to connect with Julia and talk to Julia on the side when she was looking for Sebastian Rogers with her canines. And she's a mod for Daphne now with A Small World. And she got attacked. Her and her dog got attacked. Not Max. Max was the other dog. I can't remember her dog's name right now. But anyway, sorry, Julia. They got attacked. And I know Daphne said when she's healing better, that she might have her come up and talk about the canine thing a little bit more. But so horrible. I know. It's horrible. So she would be able to speak more eloquently to this, but I'm pretty sure you need to be certified. Your dog needs to be certified. Your handler also has to be certified. And if you're not, then I don't know what the search is for. Well, this is just it. It's kind of a waste, add a CPSDV and Rugstedt list, which is this. Yeah. Yeah. I don't get why they would go with non-certified dogs. It just, to me, it's like, I might as well take my daughter's dog out, Ryder. I don't get it.
To get discouraged that there's no such
I
thing
don't
happening
get
in the
it.
spring. No, if that weather, like if there's a thaw, if there's a little bit less snow, then they go look, and continue the searching. So certainly we, like, Please Bring Me Home is involved until Jack and Lily are found in a search capacity. I don't think there's any holes to fill in an investigative capacity whatsoever. Sometimes there is with cases that are
But
2 or 3 decades old.
Okay,
But
good.
in
Thank
this
you.
instance,
Good
we're
to
just going
know.
to get in the way if we do that.
In a situation where the law enforcement may have an idea that there could be a criminal aspect to it, do they ask you guys not to search for anything? Do they ask you guys
No.
not to get involved?
I mean, I've talked to Jules about this a little bit when she and I were talking. She's actually on my cell phone because we used to text and talk quite a bit. And then she just ghosted me. I think she had to sign an NDA with Sebastian Rogers. I don't know. But she was asking me to tap into which of the officers I trusted and which I didn't before Sonny died. But yeah, Gator, thank you. Thank you. Gator, thank you. But she could speak more eloquently to this. But no, I mean, I really don't think you should be out there if you're not certified. I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, they're not just regular dogs. They're trained for hours and hours and hours. And Jules talks about it. They have to be recertified. I think it's every few years. I can't remember exactly. Every few years, they need to be thank you, Gator. I just, and she used to post when, and I don't know if she still does, but every time a dog passes in service, and it just breaks my heart. Like, it breaks my heart. I know they're not human, but I actually prefer animals to people in the most part. For the most part. And every time I see an animal die because they're trying to go and capture a perp, it freaking breaks my heart, because adults know what they're doing. We choose the danger. The dogs didn't. And it just breaks my heart. Well, that's what it's saying. Let's go back and listen. That's what they're saying.
But when he had another foster, for whatever reason, but I think it would have been brief, and they likely would have just gone back on what was easiest to walk. But you get down one of those pipeline trails, and there's so many little forks off that go in different directions that may look to them to be easily accessible. So
Interesting, yeah. Yeah, that was one of the things that I was wondering too about the pipeline, because I mean, we can only look from Google Earth, and Google Earth shows like a handful of trails that you can see from the satellite image. And what you're saying is, it sounds like there could be other paths that are off the pipeline that they could have walked. That makes it a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
In the beginning, Malaya and Daniel had notified law enforcement that the kids could have been gone for about 20 minutes. It appears, given the documents and given everything else, that they could have been gone much longer than that. How important, or how huge is that to have the timeline wrong, if it was in fact like an hour to an hour and 10 minutes missing versus 20?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen before where if it's believed that the person had wandered into the woods, have made it much farther than anyone can anticipate, and kids even. And
Yep.
It may not seem like much, and I think that, I don't know how the RCMP are set up their perimeter, but I can only assume that it was large in scale, because the parents believe they last heard them at a certain time, or had called the police at this time, but you really you want to extend that as far as possible. Let's say they went missing, just when the sun was coming up.
No. A canine, there's different categories, okay? I know, I don't know a lot, but I know from talking to Julia with Gator, because they wanted specifically Gator to go in the landfill for Sebastian Rogers. They specifically wanted Gator, and she wanted to know why they wanted Gator. And I said, I think there's medication that Sebastian was asked to take that might be in a cup or something. It might have been at Texas Roadhouse or something that he was asked to take. And she said, oh my God, Liane, canine's a drug dog, or Gator is a canine for narcotics. That makes sense. So they have specific dogs that are trained in specific odors. Canines can do drugs, and then they have cadaver dogs that only pick up on dead bodies. So they're very specifically trained for their focus. So that's that I do know. So from talking to Jules back in the day.
At 6:30 in the morning or something. How do we know? So you really have to search there. So it's really important. If you don't have that right and you don't have that perimeter set up, it's catastrophic, because they could have slipped past the perimeter already before you had set it up. I don't think that was this case. I think that these are two small kids, and I think that if they wandered, then they stuck to the trails and they weren't going through the woods, and so what path they could have taken. Now, when we're past 8 months, you can really start to look at not how far did they get, what time did they leave, but now we're looking at, and it's difficult to have this conversation, but how far could they have really walked before they had just laid down?
No, I didn't know that.
Like, right. How far is that distance? And that's really where you have to start.
No.
And now work. Please bring me home. That's what you have to do. You have to just. When we were doing a shoreline search on the lake for a gentleman, 110 kilometers of shoreline, you have to look at it, because he could have gone anywhere. Yeah. In this case, you have to almost look at it like that in the grand scale.
Yeah, and kids can get a lot further than folks think. There was a 2-year-old out here in Arizona that got 7 miles away. He was found, fortunately, traversed 5 miles through the wilderness, and then found his way onto a ranch, and then a ranch dog came in contact and then guided the boy home, or guided to his home. And it was a total of 7 miles that the kid had traversed overnight. And crazy. I mean, crazy.
They can. I used to work on a crisis team for over 100 kids in Peterborough, Ontario, that were under this foster care umbrella. And one of the duties on the crisis team was, if there were if there were violent behaviors happening, you'd get called and go and help. But if they ran away, and the amount of times that we would get called to the same kid running away, we would typically always catch him before he was able to get across the causeway. And but when he had another foster kid with him at this house, those two could make it much farther, much quicker together. And I found that so interesting. And I find
that is interesting.
These two, especially with the data that we've been reading, is more apt when two children are together. They're less likely to turn around and go back.
I find that wild. I'm just trying to see if we can hear it, because I missed some things. Because when you're trying to look at the chat, go back and forth, you miss some of the language. So I don't know for sure if they said that here or not, that they were not licensed canine dogs, registered canine and trained, but they should absolutely be certified 100%. They have to have their papers. Julia sent me copies of the papers that her dogs have for certifications. They have to be legitimate search dogs, be trained.
They're more likely to continue going forward. So I found that to be the most interesting thing that we learned when we got involved in Jack and Lily's case.
Yeah. And MV, she's the one that sent me some documents, and she had also commented on that aspect as well, because you have then I guess you have confirmation from the other person that, all right, let's go. You have less fear there, and so definitely could have gone a lot further. And I know some folks are saying that, hey, Arizona is different than Nova Scotia.
Well, everywhere is different. I mean, but the walking, however we want to come up with that equation for, 7 miles in Arizona is really only this far if we're factoring in the terrain, the woods.
I'm going to see if we hear it, but yeah, we might have to wait for tomorrow night, or I'm going to be watching it on replay if I'm not on the panel, because I'm my grandson. And somebody asked that question, do we know for sure whether they were certified canines or not? Because that's critical. Belinda would hopefully know.
In the water, what have you. But still, no matter where you are, I think that children can make it farther than what people typically anticipate.
Yeah, and I think that there's a misconception about Arizona because of Phoenix, that the entire state is a desert. It's not. There's a large portion of it is a national forest. A large portion of it up north in Arizona, the snow is part of the mountains and things of that nature. And so I understand, guys.
Yeah, or they were taken farther away, right? Yeah,
but the other thing is too, if Jack and Lily wandered off and they got far, I don't think they wandered off through the dense woods. It's going to be through the pathways and in the clearings and stuff like that. And so
anything is possible, but I would think, I know that when we lost group 6 there for a little bit, and I walked, maybe 25 feet into the woods, I was like, holy, like I was having a difficult time, who has, like, someone who searched for 10 years.
I suspect she'll be doing that on Daphne's channel, but yeah, you're right. Absolutely. We would really could benefit from her.
Getting over some of these spots. And I'm like, I could see them getting into the woods a little bit, but far, I just don't see it. Not that it's not impossible, it's just less probable, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think they got far into the woods. I think that they just kept walking. And where they were going or why they were going, I don't know. But it does seem like you have a blanket, and then along the same path, there's some boot prints. And so it does kind of seem like there's some sort of trail there. Now, and I'm not sure if you would know this or not, but Daniel had told me that the boot prints from the blanket were eventually found by an uncertified dog.
There we go.
And the documents don't indicate that to be true. It says that there wasn't a link there to be found.
Okay, so Daniel said that the boot prints were found by an uncertified dog. So it's not, please bring me home. He's suggesting the RCMP used an uncertified dog. I don't know if that's true or not. Let's keep listening.
Sent there to be found. Is that because the dog wasn't certified? Like, can you not, if you don't have a certified dog, can you not say that there's a link found there?
I think it would be hard to blame it on the dog locating it, I guess. I mean, I'm not too sure about that. I know that, well, I can give an example. We were searching for Terry Shope along Georgian Bay in Owen Sound, Ontario. And we had a cadaver dog in the boat with us.
This is what Daniel's saying about the RCMP. Now, I just question how the dogs found footprints and no scent leading up to the footprints. They can't have walked there. Otherwise, they would be sent up to the footprints. I also cannot imagine. This is not, please bring me home, Daniel's referencing. This is his reference to the RCMP's dogs not being certified, the ones that found the boot prints. That's Daniel's claim. So we got to take that with an absolute grain of salt. Do you think the RCMP used uncertified dogs? Hell to the no. I don't think the RCMP would be silly enough, uneducated enough, uninformed enough at the beginning of looking for humans that are missing in the bushes to use uncertified dogs. I mean, that would defy the entire point. I really don't think Daniel's correct here.
And I was with Bill and Sheba, the dog, and then myself were in this little tiny boat. And the dog was sitting the whole time. We were maybe 50 feet out into the water. And I had put the binoculars up to look at the shoreline, saw what I thought to be shoes, put the binoculars down, and there's the dog now doing its indication on the boat, sniffing out, sitting, looking at its handler, and beginning to bark eventually. And it's like, okay, so what came first, right? Like, was it did the dog recognize my change in behavior? That's what's so hard about handling cadaver dogs. But is it?
Well, if you're not trained, and I really suggest what he's saying means that he's not trained. I don't know. Jules would be able to clarify, but just the way he's saying it tells me he's not trained himself, because that is the entire point of having one handler certified with one dog. It's not like the dog gets certified and can go with any handler, from my understanding. The handler and the dog are certified together because they know each other. They pick up on the cues. It's like body language experts, right? It's like body language experts. I know my dog and I know their cues, and they were trained to respond this way to this, trained this way to respond to that. So it's not like they get a license to be a dog center and they can just go with anybody. They work specifically with their handler because the handler knows what their triggers are, what their body movements are, and what that means they are or are not finding. So I would suggest here that Nick is not certified as a cadaver dog handler. He maybe knows a lot, but because he doesn't understand that, again, I'm just going from what I know in my discussions with Jules way back.
Possible that the dog was with the handler and the dog seemed interested in the boot prints if the dog was there, and then therefore, you know, the dog was there when the boot prints were found, but did the dog truly say, "Hey, look at this"? I don't know.
Right. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, and it was a big difference in time too. You know, I believe that the blanket was found around 4
Well,
p.m. and the boot
he's
prints were found closer to 1 a.m. Per the documents, and so a little bit difference in time there. You know, but like I said, I mean, the boot prints are the one things that kind of keep me out there. Do you
I
do you
don't know what
guys
that
plan on
is.
going back out there and searching
UWS.
again once the weather clears up?
UWS.
Yeah, like so. When we went down for the search, kind of the thing always in the back of our mind, you know, myself, our search leader, our search director, is get to know some of the people who are coming on the search and see if they would want to continue. Because instead of dragging us from Ontario, wouldn't it be great
Yes.
if we've seen people do the searching, we get to know them, we get to, you know, do all the paperwork stuff we do, and they've had training with us. If they would continue, and that's exactly what happened here. We have, although small, 3 people to start who have agreed to go out whenever weather is cleared, and they've been out 3 times already since we left. And the canine handler has been out there once on our behalf. And so throughout the winter, just because.
And I rewound it a little bit because we wanted to go back to see what he was talking about with the certified dog and uncertified dog. Because I miss some things when I'm trying to read chat, organize what's going on, put the please like button in and all that stuff. Sometimes I miss things. Daniel said, DT said to Nick, Daniel told him that the police, RCMP, used uncertified dogs where they found the boot prints. And we didn't know what he was referencing, so we rewound it. So no, you're not losing it. That's me. I rewound it.
Because winter's here, I don't want people to get discouraged that there's
no you weren't.
No, that weather, like if there's a thaw, if there's a little bit less snow, then they're
Okay.
they go look and continue the search. So certainly Please Bring Me Home is involved until Jack and Lilly are found in a search capacity. I don't think there's any holes to fill in an investigative capacity whatsoever. Sometimes there is with cases that are 2 or 3 decades old, but in this instance, we're just going to get in the way if we do that.
In a situation
okay,
where
honey.
law enforcement
It's okay.
may have an
all
idea that
good.
there could be a criminal
It's okay.
aspect to it, do they ask you guys not to search for anything? Do they ask you guys not to get involved?
Okay, I got to ask you this before I forget. I got asked if I wanted to do a collaboration. I don't know if you guys know, I used to work as a psychic with Purple Garden. I think it's Purple Garden. I can't remember now. An affiliate of Purple Garden in the UK, where you call in for a psychic tip line. And I actually really enjoyed it. But it was UK. I had to pay for UK long distance. And so it was really counterproductive to the amount of money I earned. So there's a new creator out there called Hypsy or Hipsy. They run like psychic lines, basically. So they asked me, and they work in conjunction with tarot readers and psychics on YouTube. And I would go sign in and say, I'm available. Does anybody want to pay me for a 2-minute reading? I said no, because I didn't think you guys were interested in that. I said, thank you so much, but I really don't see my true crimers saying, hey, I got a problem. I want to call Liane now, and she's online, and I want to talk to her for 2 minutes and get a 2-minute reading that I got to pay for by the minute. Let me know if I'm wrong, but I said, thank you, no, thank you, because I just don't see that's the kind of thing you guys are interested in. So let me know if I was wrong. Just chat below.
Well, it
I
really
know,
depends
Christmas is
on
coming.
your rapport with that.
It's a hard time of year for a lot of
We
people.
have had some detectives in Ontario call.
Hey, Melinda,
saying,
honey,
you guys
hey.
are involved in this. Can we give you a call in 2 weeks? Can you do nothing and let us give you a call in 2 weeks? And then you hear in the 2 weeks that someone's been arrested, something's been found, and we're like, fantastic. In most cases, they're not telling us not to go search. They may ask us to not do any interviews right now. Like, don't go interview witnesses. They don't. I should reword that, because they're not asking us to go interview. They would love it if we would just never go and ask anybody any questions, I think, for the most part.
Yes.
Because that does have the ability to completely tank whatever case they're building. But there are instances where you do have to go and ask certain people questions, because if this is foul play, if there is a case that's foul play, and especially if there's more nefarious activities involved in this foul play case, they're not going to walk into the police station and offer up the information. If you're not a police officer, you may be more apt to get that information in. So, and yeah, we're only interested in locating the person. Of course, if there's foul play and justice plays a part in it, that's really not our purview. We would never stop those wheels of justice to go or anything, or try and turn people away from that. But we just want to locate these people.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. And and I think that
Thank you.
that says something too. It says something about what RCMP is saying outside of what they've already put out there in documents. So folks had some questions a little bit earlier. Apparently there was like a lot of stir up between a blanket and a bath
Oh, here
mat
we go.
and a leopard printed.
There we go. Let's talk about the math, the Mets. No, I know, honey Ann. I know. The math, the Mets, and the madness. Okay. Madness is coming up next. Madness is next. Let's go. We're almost done to we've talked a little bit about could you in your meth head not plant things properly, plant some things. We've talked a little bit about the blanket theory, and I just don't why I think it was planted. But let's keep
sweater
listening.
that was not necessarily found. I don't think it was found by y'all's search. I think it was found outside of the search.
Yeah, but Veronica,
RCM.
Like I would rather go back to Purple Meadow because they don't expand your network. It's only for your subscribers. So they're not offering me it's just for my group, which I already do readings for. So to me, it's like, if you want a reading, just message me. I'll fit it into your budget,
Tia said it's irrelevant, but some folks are asking me, what are your thoughts about it?
So it happened during our search. Okay. It was outside of the search location that we were searching. But just like everything, the person who had found it had come back to the Union Center, relayed the information to us.
Go back here. I want to listen to this.
They would love it if we would just never go and ask anybody any questions, I think, for the most part. Right. Because that does have the ability to completely tank whatever case they're building. But there are instances where you do have to go and ask certain people questions, because if this is foul play, if there is a case that's foul play, and especially if there's more nefarious activities involved in this foul play case, they're not going to walk into the police station and offer up the information. If you're not a police officer, you may be more apt to get that information in. So, and yeah, we're only interested in locating the person. Of course, if there's foul play and justice plays a part in it, that's really not our purview. We would never stop those wheels of justice to go or anything, or try and turn people away from that. But we just want to locate these people.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. And I think that says something too. It says something about what RCMP is saying outside of what they've already put out there in documents. So folks had some questions a little bit earlier. Apparently there was like a lot of stir up between a blanket and a bath mat and a leopard printed sweater that was not necessarily found. I don't think it was found by y'all's search. I think it was found outside of the search. From what I understand, RCMP has said it's irrelevant, but some folks are asking me, what are your thoughts about it?
So it happened during our search. It was outside of the search location that we were searching.
Outside of
like everything,
it was outside of the search location. Interesting.
The person who had found it had come back to the Union Center, relayed the information to us, and then tried to explain where it was. They didn't mark it on on a map or anything like that. They just kind of explained, go down this road and go off the side of the road here. And so I went, and actually CBC came with me to try and locate this blanket. We could not find it. So at the end of the search day, after we got all the search groups out there, I sent our search leader with that person who found this blue blanket, and he then took pictures of it, got the coordinates, and then we immediately sent it to the RCMP. Just like everything else, we don't remove anything. It's not. We're not the ones to determine, is this evidence or is it not. We send the information off, and we trust that RCMP are going to handle it. So yeah, in the blue blanket, there seems to be this bath mat and a woman's top, I believe, and a couple of things that were shared with me from my search leader was that the items were dry, and it had rained for 2 weeks, and they were dry, and it was just something that we had put down in our document was they're dry. And it wasn't
like where they dropped off that morning before the search happened, like that kind of dry. Yeah, I mean, there's just they didn't fly there. They had to be planted. I mean, there's just no other way around it.
An item that you could
In my
you could necessarily
opinion.
see from the roadway.
In my
You had to go off the
opinion.
roadway to locate it. So I think, in
Uh,
my opinion,
Listen, Daleen rather, and Melinda's lawyer, Belinda's lawyer. God, I'm still tired. Belinda's lawyer and Daleen were in Shannon's chat yesterday when I was in there. Belinda confirmed not blood on the blanket. There was something, but it wasn't blood on the bath mat or anything like that. And Daleen said there's rumors that she's heard rumors that Daniel was spotted in the vicinity. I just heard that yesterday in the chat from Daleen. There was rumors that Daniel was spotted to be in the vicinity near Brad's pit.
I think that this item was found, and you know, the feeling you get if you've never located something on a search before, and maybe even if you have, it's this level of anxiety, like, oh my gosh, could this be something? Did I just find
Yes,
something?
I would imagine.
And
Yeah.
so you have this level of anxiety. This could be huge. I need to get this dealt with. And then there's kind of this dip where it's like, we're just going to leave it there because we don't know.
God, no, don't just ever leave anything there. No.
And
That's upsetting to hear. God, no.
you know, there was nothing. I mean, gosh, if we took a picture on every search of every single clothing item or towel or blanket that we've ever located,
It's true.
we wouldn't be able to do that. So
yeah, I mean, I guess I get his point. You know, they can't, like, I get his point, you know?
In this instance, we had located, we had sent it to the RCMP. They knew where it was. And I just think there was some anxiety afterwards from the people who had located it, thinking it could be something. And then they did what they wanted to do to ensure that it got to the RCMP. And I believe the RCMP are still saying, okay, we got it, but we still don't know if we still don't believe it's an evidentiary value, is what I believe.
Yeah. No, I understand that aspect. I completely get it. You know, there's been times where.
Sorry, give me 1 second here.
Go ahead. So while he goes away, there's been times where I've thought I found something or something of that nature as well. And he's right. You get that little adrenaline rush, like, all right, we think we found something. We found a clue. You know, sometimes it leads to something. Sometimes it doesn't. Here recently, I've been working with a cold case foundation on a different type of case, and we found something, and we've been working on that. You know, and that's just kind of something on the side, so to speak. So for those that are not familiar with the work that I've done, you know, we've helped out in the prosecution of Brian Koberger. There was the aspect where the DoorDash driver was missing, and we went and found her, so to speak. I mean, she wasn't missing like in this aspect, missing in the aspect where she was going on through some hard times, had been evicted from her residence, and law enforcement or prosecution was trying to find her because she was going to be a witness and they needed her testimony, and so couldn't find her. And we had somebody that was in contact with her, and we were able to get in touch with her. And the other thing that I've been working on is with another. He was I can't disclose too much, but he was also in law enforcement. He has a cold case foundation, and we're working on the cold case together. And so, a couple things to be on the lookout for. Welcome back, Nick.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. And so
I can't remember what I was saying. Oh, sorry. Yeah, the blue blanket is.
Yeah.
And just with evidence in general, we don't decide what's evidence. Like, we locate it and we contact the RCMP. We give them the information, and we trust that they're gonna go and get it if they believe that they need to. They have all the information, so it's really kind of out of our hands at that time.
Yeah, and I know because people have already asked in the comment section, and they've asked me. But if it wasn't visible from the roadway, like, how did somebody know that it was out there? Was this part of a search location? From what I understood, it was outside of the search location.
Lori, you're making me laugh. Hey, listen, she's an attorney. I have my own opinions, but I'm hoping she's not doing anything to jeopardize Belinda's case. I know a lot of people feel very strongly about this. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you because I can feel your anger in this. So let's take some deep breaths together because I can tell. I know. It feels like Sebastian 2.0 with Tony Mathis and all the craziness. Like, I get it. Now they're probably trying to stir the pot. I don't know, but she was in the chat yesterday. I communicated with her through email a couple times because somebody wanted me to be in the case, involved with her and the PI with Chrissy in the case, and they connected us. But you know, I think she just wants to help. But you know, I don't know. I don't know. Sorry, I just can't help. You're making me laugh because it's like I need the relief. I need the relief. I need the outlet. So Janie before 9 took the children up the pathway to that abandoned road and put it could be Carla, 100%, 100%, 100%. It could be, could be. Let's just either a black sedan or a black SUV or black VR that was reported there some behavior first day by a female call. Yes. And you know what's weird is, well, I don't want to say because I did get energy, but I just never said it because I didn't know where it belonged. But I did feel like there was a black car involved somewhere along the way too at the very beginning.
Yeah, it was outside of the search location. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
I really
No
don't
way.
know. I know that. Well, and let's keep in mind too, like just I'll devil's advocate myself here because like when our search leader is going, it is
No
darker.
way.
The sun is starting to go down. You know, just because he said he couldn't see it from the roadway doesn't really mean it doesn't really hold any
I hope
value. It
not.
was just odd. I think the strangest thing was that.
Really? I hope not. I hope they're not fighting like that behind the scenes. I would hope not.
That it was dry.
Yeah.
Like so immediately when that's shared with me, there is a level of anxiety that comes down from me because it likely wasn't out there for 7 months then. Especially in the last 2 weeks when it was just pissing down rain there. So
yeah,
I don't know. But again, devil's advocate myself again. I don't. Was it under a tree? Like I don't know how.
I watched
how
it
exactly this was
too.
found, but it was just strange that it was.
I was watching. I was working on my ebook, which I'm almost done. I have about another hour and a half to be done today to launch it after this. I'm so thankful. I was watching it too, but I didn't again because I was working. I didn't hear that. She did nothing but talk about what was said by Chrissy on the DT. I don't know. I didn't hear that, but it doesn't mean it didn't happen. But I was working at the same time.
Trying
so.
every other item we located on that search.
Sad. I hope
material,
not.
Anywhere
I
else
hope
we
not.
looked at that day was so.
I hope not. I hope that's not the case. But again, I offered an apology to Sunny. People are getting heatered. Daggone it. Okay, what channel? Daggone it. I don't know what that means, Veronica. People are heated and emotional, and let's everybody just remember this is about Jack and Lilly. We all need to work together. I'm not the best person for that either. Sometimes I get it. I have to lose my shit. They all want to give Sunny and all the other creators a cease and desist as well, but I hope not. Oh my God, no. What? I hope not. I don't understand why you let something out, then maybe someone talked about it. Should have kept it to yourself. Are you talking to me, honey? Who are you talking about? Are you talking about me? Carla, search and rescue dogs have to be certified 1,000%. I was watching Charmaine last night. I watched Shannon, Charmaine, and Clutch Them Pearls last night. So I just want everybody to get along. So Carla, yes, you need certified dogs. The whole certified dog conversation we learned because I had to go back because again, if I'm focusing on the chat, the like buttons and all that stuff, it's hard to focus and you don't hear sometimes because you're multitasking everything. So it was referenced here. DT said Daniel told him that the RCMP had uncertified dogs, that the ones that found the boot prints. And I'm saying, I don't believe the RCMP would send uncertified dogs out. I really can't believe that. No, Chrissy's mad. I'm nobody from the other side of the country. I've personally felt attacked and bullied. Jane, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Listen, it's true crime. It's true crime can be so volatile and emotional. And I'm sorry, not you, Chrissy, let that out and then mad it was talked about. Yeah. Well, I really hope that none of this is going on in the background. I just have to say, if I was a private investigator on this case, I wouldn't want to be on YouTube. That's just me. Definitely high emotions here. Understandable, I guess. Zip it. No, don't be zipping it. Just breathe out. And when it happens and you feel attacked, just go away and lick it. You've seen me lose it here, being attacked many times, or feeling attacked, whether I was being attacked, I felt attacked and responded like I was being attacked many times. We'll be down the sink. I hope you're not right. I hope you're, no offense, Lori, I hope you're wrong, but I know other people keep saying that. Dalene's a lawyer, so I hope she knows that, you know, I'm trusting she knows what she's doing legally to protect Belinda and her PI. I would hope so. I would think so. I'm going to give her that benefit of the doubt.
Looking wet. But that item outside of the search is
Hey, Miss
not
Q.
wet.
Nice to
Interesting.
see you.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, I wonder what.
Nice to see you.
If
It's been a
anything it had
while.
to do with anything, but yeah, there's some interesting
Well,
aspects.
who knows? Could it have just been something that was like thrown out in the days or two prior to that? It's not. It doesn't mean that anyone's planting anything. It still leaves out is someone just throwing stuff out of their car. I don't know. I don't know. I'm still leaving it the
Throwing stuff
possibility
out of their
that
car.
I'm way on the
Yeah.
fence on this. What is evidence and what is not evidence is not really our purview. It's we just give the information, and what the RCMP decides to do with it is there.
Yeah. I mean, that makes complete sense, right?
Thanks.
It's true.
Well, I know
get-
that there's been a guy that lives close to Daniel that's taken ownership of the sweater and the blanket, and the property that the sweater and the blanket and all this stuff was found was on the.
Hey, Wendy, my dear. Nice to see you, honey. Apparently, Charmaine said last night, I was working. Miss you, Miss Q. Miss you so much. I missed you so much. It's so nice to see you back here. I keep saying I'm going to go back to Sebastian Rogers, and I truly want to. I just don't know if I'm too traumatized. Like, I still have some PTSD to resolve here, clearly. But I do want to. So hopefully in the new year, we're going to go back to Sebastian Rogers. But yeah. So what just happened was I didn't hear it because I was working on my book, which I'm about to publish after I'm off here today. It's going to take me about an hour and a half. It'll be done today. And I've been working hard on my ebooks. So, and writing 2 fictional series at the same time. Yes, that's my brain. Welcome to Liane's brain. I'm going to start one book. I'm going to start another book, and then I'm going to go this way. But it's nice to see you, honey. So we heard, I was listening, but I didn't hear her say it because I was working, that apparently Charmaine announced that Belinda's attorney, Daleene, sent some cease and desist orders out on this case. And so, yeah. Thank you, honey. I know, Hope. I know. Well, this is it. When we have our own stuff going on in our own lives, you know, it's easier to let go of the noise for sure. So I'm really hoping that that's not the case with the cease and desist. Like, I really hope, because I just want these kids found, and we have to work together here. We have to work together, in my opinion.
One of his friends.
Thank you, honey.
And so, from what I
Thank you,
understand,
honey.
is this guy does like mechanic stuff.
They're just little ebooks. I'm gonna promote them here. They're $2.99 and $4.44 on Amazon. They're 3 ebooks. Survive is about a technique that I was guided towards helping clear your unwanted emotions and triggers. And it's for empaths that are like me right now, overwhelmed in the world with all the hate and chaos. And I've got sacred shifts, which are ancient wisdom for 30 days on how to like get your body working. You know, it's not meditation. It's things like circadian rhythms, grounding, earthing, and different things like that based on ancient wisdom. And then I've got 30 days to develop your psychic intuition. So they're just cheap ebooks, $2.99 and $4.44. So if you're interested in those, I will start promoting those with the links to Amazon. Okay. Jane Doe, you're welcome. You did nothing wrong. I don't know who you're talking to, but anyways, let's go.
Other things, but mechanic stuff. And I know that we had Chrissy Travers call into the show one time, and she mentioned, and she's walked it back, but she had mentioned there was a liquid on there that she thought it was blood, but she's walked it back since.
It wasn't me. It was apparently Charmaine. So I don't know. I hope not. I hope we're all going to work together.
And to me, I thought maybe somebody just kind of used it to wrap a tool, and what they thought was blood was oil, but or some sort of part, and it just has nothing to do with anything. I feel there's a connection there. It's like, who does it belong to? It belongs to this guy's friend. I wouldn't be surprised if there's just some random reason behind it. The only thing that kind of is interesting is if it was.
Well, apparently I'm supposed to become some famous writer in this life, according to my astrology. Well, I have a deck. I just need to raise the funds to get my deck. Did you know I have a deck? I have a deck. Someday I'll show you my true crime deck. Oh, Damien, thank you for emailing me, honey. Thank you. Thank you, Damien. So the cadaver dog with the PBM are certified, just so you're aware. DT was talking about a different dog at the beginning of the search in regards to boot prints and blanket fragments, so not related to PBM. Thank you, Damien. Thank you, Damien. Love you. Thank you for clarifying. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Hope that clears it up. So yes. So we did go back to listen, and it was the reference to the RCMP that Daniel made not being certified dogs. And I really cannot believe that the RCMP would send uncertified dogs. And I wouldn't think that the Please Bring Me Home would have uncertified dogs either. So Damien writes, the cadaver team that Please Bring Me Home used are certified, just so you're aware. Thank you. That's what I would have hoped. Thank you, Damien. DT was talking about a different dog at the beginning of the search in regards to the boot prints. Yes, we just found that out. You just have to stick with me long enough. We get there, but it's a live stream, Email me, Liane. Oh, sweetie, thank you. Yeah, so hope that clears that up. So yeah, I'll show you my true crime deck. So there's oracle decks for true crime, right? And I'll just briefly tell you this since we're asking about it, and then we're gonna listen to the rest of this video, and then I have another video. My true crime deck is tarot, because to me, tarot is about intuition, right? Tarot is about intuition. You have different meanings for different cards. When you pick an oracle card and it tells you pipeline, there's no guessing. There's no guessing. And I want people to develop their intuition. So I'm hopefully going to be the first out the gate with true crime tarot cards, not oracle cards, because the whole point, let me pull them up in Canva. I got a whole boatload of stuff in Canva here. The whole point is to develop your intuition. So maybe we could make that a fundraising goal, because Shannon said she would buy them. I just need like $100 to get them edited with the bleed lines and then get them printed so that I can sell them to whoever wants them. Hold on, I'm just looking for them here. Hang on. I got so many freaking book covers and thumbnails, and this is what happens when you're writing 3 books at the same time. There they are. I think I'd showed them here before. Okay, so they're different. I know. Tea time doing tarot readings, it sure makes you think. Yeah, so okay, let me remove my background. I'm in bed. Sorry, what's new? Just because I want you to be able to see this. So this is now way to go. Oh, gotta love it. I had it pulled up, and then maybe Spirit's saying don't share, because I just gotta show it to you and they're gone. Come on. I can't pull it up because it's in a different. Come on. It's in a different. Hang on. There we are. Here we are. I got to go back down to the beginning. For the love of God. Here, I think we're coming up. They're made to be not super colorful, although they are colored, because I want them to be affordable. And if you have a lot of colors, so maybe, I mean, right now it's between my tarot deck and my car. which is going to be a lot more expensive because I have a bearing, I need brakes, I need a muffler and lights. So the lights aren't that bad, but there's a rod that's not working. There's a rod on one of the tires, and I need new brakes and a muffler. So probably $500 my son-in-law can do all the work. It's the $500 to get the part. Yeah, maybe even a little more. Anyways, I'm trying to find them. Why I had it, I don't know. Maybe I'm not meant to share this because I had it up. I went to show it and you guys watched it. But anyways, we'll do it another day because I don't want to take up too much time. I cannot seem to locate these in my Canva. So hang on. There they are. There they are. Okay. So I've changed them. This is the original print. This is the original. They've changed. Okay. So the masters are red, like a burgundy. The MasterCards. So we've got the Hierophant. So what I've got here, these are changed. Half of it's going to be white, half of it's going to be dark. So this is original, but they basically have the original lovers. And up in this corner is the true crime print. And in this other corner is the original, the meaning of the lovers, union, choices, harmony. And then I got a true crime banner. And then I've got the options below in what that card, how it applies to true crime, affairs of the heart, two suspects, betrayal, crime of passion, third party involvement, breakups, divorce. Because I want people to be able to use their intuition. But the colors I've changed. And then I've got the cards are, the swords are blue, green. You get the point. Different colors. Half of it's white, half of it's darker. And this is one of the original copies, but I've changed the color. I like it burnt more. But that's what this is like, they need to be changed, right? Like this is the original, like they've been formatted now differently. There, they've been formatted more like this. They've been formatted more like this now. Okay. So it just needs to be formatted so that the bleed is all like, it's all centralized and then printed. Thoughts? You love them. They're beautiful. Thank you. No, they do have color, honey. They do have color. See, half of it's going to be dark on the bottom, or probably going to do the top half dark and the bottom white. MMO, do you watch? I do, honey. Yeah, I do. I watched him last night. Late. He was on late last night. I was up till like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. But yeah. So, and then we've got pink. These are just this is not the original. This is an older version. Yeah. Okay. Plea deal, 5 of Cups. It's like I have learned through my own tarot that certain tarot, you like them? Thank you. But this is not, like I said, this is not the original. This is not the final, rather. This is the work in progress. Then you've got the orange for the wands, which again, this colors have changed. I've got green here. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to come up with colors. Yeah. So they just have to be finessed a little bit. Again, I want dark on the top and the bottom light, or maybe the other way around, maybe light on the top and then dark on the bottom. Justin clutch them pearls. Gotcha moment the other night. Woke people up. I missed it. Again, I've been working on this book. Unfortunately, my mom truly said it's true shenanigans. Can't confirm that as well. I'm sorry, honey. I hope this is not true. Okay, let's get back to this. We got 20 more minutes in this, and then I've got another video.
Wasn't seen from the roadway. Now, I know I had sent some images of some things that some of my viewers had seen on Google Earth. So I wondered if it was from there, because one of the images I found on Google Earth was a blue blanket. And I had sent it in, and it was about 4 miles away from where Daniel lives, something like that. And so it was a bit of a distance.
Well, this was found.
Yes.
This was found much closer. Like it wasn't terribly far from.
The colors are just related to the suits. just related to the suits, each of the suits.
Our search zone.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't on our search zone. Like it wasn't, yeah, this wasn't terribly far away. Certainly wasn't 4 miles.
Interesting. I thought it was further away.
No,
That's
like I made it there. I mean, when our search leader went looking for it, I mean, I think he made it there in less than 10 minutes from the Union Hall Center. So that's 10 minutes. That's like 8 minutes from the search zone. So, and he's going past the search zone. So, I mean, it wasn't far at all. I'm just trying to think about how best to describe this because, yeah, no, it was down. Like it was either
There
down Gerlach Road or Lansdowne Station Road.
I just showed everybody my tarot deck. Did you see it? I love you, my dear. I love you, my dear. I'm guessing I'm not getting up on the panel, so I'm going to go ahead. Yeah. Okay. What do you think? I'm guessing I'm not going to get an invite, so I'm going to go ahead and babysit my grandson tomorrow night. Prime colors, I mean. Well, I was trying to think of colors that would work good with the cards. I might change them. I want them tarot cards. Thank you, honey. I just need to raise $100 so I can get them printed. I need to get the bleeding changed and to make sure everything's central. And she got your email. I'm glad, honey. I'm glad. Thank you. Tarot is fun and widely addictive. Yeah, we look at them. Yeah, I just have to raise funds, like I said, to get the bleed edited from the bleed. I had hired Fiber and the guy effed me over. Ugh. I'm so pissed. The guy screwed me over. Anyways, so yeah, so the top's gonna, I think the more I think about it, the top will be light with the traditional tarot, and then the bottom will be true crime. But yeah, let's go. You're so sweet. Shannon, thank you. You guys have been too kind to me today. Thank you, honey. I appreciate you. I just love your energy. You'll get them too, Anne. Thank you. Well, they're the first ones out. Like oracle cards are all over the place, but no one's done true. I know. Thank you, Donna. Maybe I can buy you some coffees next week. Miss Q, thank you, honey. Listen, I get it. I totally get it. Like, yeah, I don't even want to start crying. I get it. You know, yours truly's been in pretty bad poverty, so I get it for a while now, thanks to helping my dad, which I don't regret at all. So, not going to start crying today. Okay, let's go.
But it wasn't part of our search area.
Understood.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know that some folks got mixed up with some of the search areas when you're dealing with volunteers that maybe aren't the most map ready. You know, they may go off the wrong way. Is that accurate?
That happened this time, and you gotta humble me because, like,
I know, hey.
They almost listened to my directions too.
At least we're all broke together. Love you all so much. Thank you.
Because I said cross the bridge and go to your right.
Thank you, Wendy.
And I did not consider that they would take the shortcut, which makes the most logical sense. They want to get to the search zone faster, so they're not going to come all the way down Lansdowne Station Road and up and around. Had they done that, they would have crossed the bridge and gone right.
Thank you, Veronica.
The north side down the shortcut. I think it was McLeod Road, from what I remember. And they crossed the bridge and they turned right, and it was just like, yeah, they followed my directions too well.
It's been a humbling experience taking care of when I had to take care of my dad. Let me just tell you, it was humbling to go from $500,000 a year as a top agent internationally with Keller Williams, and I made as a coach. I could show you pay stubs when I worked for Keller Williams International. You would shit your pants. Okay, I made $30,000 a month US coaching for Keller Williams, no expenses, none. So yeah, it's been a very humble experience. Very humbling.
My directions instead of the map.
Yeah.
Well, that
That was-
clears up
Ugh.
the conspiracy, because I know that there was some people that were. I know there was like a.
Thank you,
it was all over
everybody.
the place,
Thank you,
that there was
everybody.
some sort of disagreement there, and I
Ugh.
guess some folks felt like they were purposefully searching on somebody's private property, and that's not the case, obviously. So that clears that up.
Yeah,
I
it wasn't,
know.
you know, we purposely were not going on anybody's property.
Yeah, I know. I know. We're not even buying gifts this year, my family. We're not. The kids are getting gifts. That's it. I got last night, each of my grandkids, an Amazon gift and the dollar store. That's what they're getting, because I got $500 coming to me next week from YouTube, and that's it. So, it's pretty slim pickings. But thank God our kids are not, it's really, they're young enough to just feel the love. That's what matters.
Or we were doing our absolute best to stay off it. So we entered each river access point to buy the roadways. So
Thank
by
you,
law,
Marie
you can do
Curie.
that.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
if
everybody.
people had to go on people's property, it was to get out, get
I
to the
know,
nearest
honey.
roadway.
I know.
And because of that altercation that happened, I just wanted those two groups that were there for it to
I know, Anne, but it's been, or Miss Q rather, this is the last I'm going to say. I made 120,000, had a house, and now live in an RV. Gotcha, hun. Oh, I know, honey. Yeah, exactly. It's not me. It's that my daughter has had to work overtime. Thank God she's a nurse at CHIO. She used to run the ER there, right? She was a charge nurse at CHIO. She runs the autoimmune clinic now for kids, but she works overtime to help fund me. She's been paying my way since we had to get my dad out of Florida after I was called, and they read him his last rites after my mom took all his money and stole everything he had, ignored my power of attorney, and left him to die in Florida, where he did almost die. They read him his last rites when I got the call. And I got court orders. Like, I'm not even going to get into it. Okay. It's 600 emails of evidence, and she's still getting away with it. Police are doing nothing about it. And I lost all my coaching clients, and my daughter, his houses were in receivership. Like, we had to come up with $20,000 right away. It cost $18,000 to get his furniture home. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But the point is, when I talk about true crime, my experience of justice in Canada is different, very different. It's just not what it's cut out to be, in my opinion, from my experience. But let's move on. And I lost all my coaching clients one by one with court orders. My dad with dementia, he'd have the blow dryer running and water running at the same time. He would take off and wander all the time. He would get violent. I lost all my coaching clients. I was a wreck. The police had to get me.
go out. And the easiest way was,
Ottawa police had to get me.
you're going to trek through somebody's property. That wasn't the altercation. The altercation.
Sorry, Ottawa police had to get me crisis counseling. Oh, I know, Marie. I get it. And I paid for her degree. I paid for both my kids' degrees because I could afford to, but it doesn't relieve the guilt and the PTSD. Oh, listen, the PTSD, you have no idea. I'm not even going to get into it. She is a true angel. She absolutely is. Absolutely. Absolutely. We all have to work together. If it's not gonna work, it's all about Jack. And yes, absolutely. Yes, we should work together better, because that's how we're gonna get farther with ideas and answers and theories and everything, right? Okay, let's get back into this.
Was this man thought that they were on his property, and the search team was not on his property. They were following along the river, which was accessible by the roadway. So, I mean, but in that realm of things, I can see both sides on this. The property owners are tired of people breaking into their sheds, trekking on their property.
I
don't want the
understand
liability. They just want the professionals to go searching. And we're not, I think we're good at what we do, but we're not like the best searchers ever. I trust RCMP and GSTAR to do that better than we do. And I just think that they're tired. Not that they don't want the kids found. They're just tired of it.
And so did y'all have I know that there was the one that made the news, but was there other property owners that just kind of were
oh yeah, listen, I've got the best kids and grandkids in the world. So yes, I am blessed. I don't have a PO box. Just listen, do you remember when Jenny used to be my mod here when we covered Sebastian? She was like, why? Because I said I got to burn sage. She's like, why don't you burn sage? I'm like, I don't have a lighter. She's like, it's $2. I'm like, yeah, but I need salt. And I got $2. So that's how bad it's been. But we're not whining, because it's taught us a lot. Okay, everybody, I'm going to finish this up. No more talking about the chat. Let's focus.
There was, what's it called? What's this? the Lorda camp. So I wouldn't say
Yeah.
they weren't happy, but that was the trail that I gave the two search groups. I told them to go up through Lorda camp to reach the road. It was the quickest way out. It was the safest way out. And they weren't upset. At least I didn't get the indication they were upset, but you could tell that they were surprised to see the search group. But the group was really good, speaking with them and saying that we're just trying to get up to the roadway. We're not trying to, and they were just sticking to the roadway that goes into Lorda camp. So it's not like they were trekking across lawns or anything.
Right.
That was the only other scenario. Everywhere else, there's group 6 that did get off their line and did get momentarily lost. But again, like there was no house up there or anything. It was just woods. So, yeah.
Oh, gotcha. And and so, these searches are going on with you just mentioned somebody got lost. How did that happen? Did they just turn the wrong way? How easy is it to get lost out there?
Well, when you get that deep into it, group 6, they were working up the middle river of Pictou to the north. So they were essentially following that river the way that it flows. And what had happened was, when you get to the north end of that river, there's a hydrolines that run to the east from that north end of that river. But what I believe happened, from what they told me, is they were following the river and then it jet off to the east. And I think with all the rain, there were likely these other forks of the river that just kind of went off into these other spots that would eventually just dry off.
Gotcha.
But they went and followed that one, thinking they were following the middle river of Pictou. And then they got just too far off. Now, so this all happened near the end. So there was that anxiety of, gosh, like, okay, now we have to turn it to just get these people out before the sun goes down. So I went and I picked up, Damien had a drone. I went and picked up Damien. We made sure all the other groups were out. And then we went back with the drone. And as we were driving down the gravel road to pop the drone up, they were walking down the gravel road. So they ended up finding their way out. Luckily, one of their phones, it would just show on the map a white screen, but it would still show their compass on there. So they knew they just had to go east, keep going east. I would honk my horn. They would radio saying they could hear my horn. And then they ended up losing the walkie-talkie. So I didn't know they had lost the walkie-talkie at that point. So we went back and picked them up. But in that last half hour, they had lost their walkie. We were coming back. We were going to find them. I'm glad they made it out. That was anxiety for us, for sure.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine that aspect. I'm assuming like cell service and things like that is at a minimum out there.
No cell service whatsoever. Like, we ended up getting the Rogers eSIMs.
Thank you for the thought,
6
Jane.
of us. So like each leader had that.
Thank you for the thought. Can I just say something? I appreciate your thought. I really do. But if you're going to send something in the mail in Canada, it's going to get here next year for my birthday. Sorry, it's true. It's not going to get here now. Since Canada's postal service is a little on the delayed side at Christmas for sure, but I love you for your sentiment. I appreciate it. Thank you, sweetie. I truly love you for that.
But even that, it wasn't perfect. Like, so I was the person that would drive around and check in on each search team as they progressed. And so I would just drive my poor car down these rickety trails, and just to catch them, it would be Nick to group 2 until somebody got back. Okay, just checking in, everything okay? Yep. Then I'd have to drive all the way back down and then up. And then every now and again, you'd be radioed or called because something was found, or someone needs to exit because they can't do it anymore. It was tricky, but we managed, and everyone did a bang up job who came out that day. Like, I was super impressed. I can't remember the exact number. It's over 100 kilometers though, from what people had searched that day. Straight line, but 100 kilometers.
That's amazing, though. The amount of work that you guys have done out there, it's truly commendable. You guys have done amazing work. I know that I think I saw an interview or something like that where you talked about the markings where ground search and rescue were already searching. Like, how filled was that area full of those? Like how well do you think that the search was beforehand?
I think the search, based on what we saw, the search was really, like, it had to have been methodical, because you never just saw one flag. If you saw one flag, there were 10 more that you could clearly see. So And it's good from us, like, to see that it's not just, you're not seeing a pink flag and then 20 feet away another one. You're seeing like 40 flags within like a 20-foot area, which tells you that it's slow. It's the effort that they put in was obviously slow and methodical. There were some areas that like the flags would show up less and less frequent or more spaced apart, but that's not to say that they didn't search it. That's just to say that like some could have fallen off. Maybe they took them off as they completed it. What we do is we're searching years down the line. We don't leave flags out, multiple lines out. We just leave the last line out. So we're taking flags off as we go down the
It's
line.
kind of like when you strawberry pick, right? You plant your flag. Sorry. Sorry. Did I tell you a story? My ex-aunt-in-law used to be a senior at Canada Post. And I remember she sent me a birthday card one year. And I got it in like February. And I'm like, thanks for the birthday card, Julie. I just got it. She's like, what? You just got it now? Yes, it's Canada Post. Like, it's kind of like when you drink too much Canada Post Kool-Aid, you think everything arrives on time at Canada Post and doesn't get lost. It's not the case. But yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not here to disparage everybody, but yes, things can get lost in the mail with Canada Post. And at Christmas time, they're definitely delayed. Yeah, Gus I know Gus went missing 40 or prior. No way. What are your thoughts on that, Ms. Q? Because we covered it here, and Kylie was sending us stuff because she's from the area as well. And she had talked to locals, and I don't want to get off the topic because we're almost done this live, but has there been any new updates? Because he had been seen by locals a couple of days before he went missing, apparently at a doctor's appointment. So that theory about him being deceased for 6 months apparently isn't accurate according to her research. But let me know what you think about that case. That's another one that's just wild that they haven't found him yet. And we don't hear any updates either, It's wild.
Line. But no, in this instance, they did a incredible job. Just shown with the flagging tape. I mean, the flagging tape just didn't just wind up there. So
yeah, they
And so,
searched
like,
the large areas.
we're getting towards the end of the hour. And I know you mentioned this at the top of the show, but for those that are going to come out and say, well, if they searched so great and you guys went out there and you searched behind them, they must not be out there if you didn't find them. Have you seen efforts like this before? And they not be found in that moment, and then later on found right in the area.
I'm sure they have.
Very close.
I'm glad you asked me that, because I like to talk about Eric, and I know a lot of the times it seems like, oh, you're blaming law enforcement or search and rescue doing a poor job and you guys won't find them. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Mm-hmm.
If it's an area where there's environmental changes, there's animal activity, there's water access. There's water access that moves and flows. I don't think it's fair to ever say that it has been cleared completely or that wandering and misadventure has been done. Eric Spencer had walked into the woods in Honey Harbor, up near Honey Harbor in Ontario, parked his car in a stranger's driveway. The stranger said, "What are you doing?" And he just walked in the woods. Police were immediately out there doing searches over the next couple of days. Didn't find him, but there was no evidence that he had ever left those woods. So 5.5 years later, when we get involved and we finally go up to do a search, we decide, and it's the first time that law enforcement give us access to their search maps.
Mm-hmm.
So there were no holes in it, but you could tell that they didn't just do a waterline search. So just follow the river the way it goes into the swamp and then into a pond and then into another river. Just follow that. And that's exactly what we did. And we located him at the north end of that, his remains. And the reality is that when law enforcement was searching for him, so they searched for him in that first week. They searched for him a month and a half later. They searched with him the following year, and then 3 years, didn't find him. Not because they did a bad job, but it's because he was underwater at the time. And finally, when we searched, we knew water levels are low.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The landscape has changed a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the right time. And it only took about an hour. Keith and Justin Campbell, they were just off the roadway in the ditch. And police did a search and we located him. There's an individual who, it will come out eventually. Out of respect for the family, I'm just not going to mention the name yet because I got to wait for law enforcement to release that. But we did a lot of searching for this individual. And when I look at where this person was eventually located and where we walked there 3 times. and we did 13 searches for this person,
Wow.
and
Wow. Wow. Wow.
they just weren't there yet. So continuous searches, continuing to look at misadventure theories, wandering theories, especially, and this place has it all. It has the animal activity, it has the changes in the
Animal
environment, and
activity.
it has
Yeah.
access to flowing water. So you have to continue to just go, and that's what we're doing. When it thaws, we go. In the springtime, we go. RCMP and GSTAR are still going to remain involved. Everyone's going to be on this until they're found, or we just continue to debunk wandering until something else comes
Right.
out. If something
Yeah.
else does come
Yeah. I agree with that approach.
Yeah,
You got to
yeah,
keep
no,
going
that
with
makes a
all
lot of sense. I'm
theories.
glad you were able to, share that and be open with us about those things, because I think there's a huge misunderstanding about searches, and that if something's not found on the first search, that there's nothing there, and I think that's a really really bad take to have, and I'm glad.
Well, I don't think that's what we're saying here. I think that's obvious that, and we've heard that before. Maybe not as extensive as what he just explained now, so I don't disagree with that. But I do think in this case, to have boot prints with no scent leading to the boot prints, to have a blanket with no scent leading to the blanket is different. It says different things may have happened to these kids. That's just my opinion, just my 2
glad you guys are
cents.
there, and I'm glad you guys are going to continue to search. Is there I know that when things thawed out and you guys are going to go out there again, but is there
Yeah.
like a
No,
plan,
they didn't get
effort of a maybe a larger scale search, plan for the spring or anything like that?
It'll be, we're always down for it to be a large search again. And because now, of course, we want to look at, I feel like you got to focus on the water, and these
Mhm.
waterways fork all over the place here where these kids were last seen. You got
Mhm.
to focus on that for sure. But secondarily, all and more, and even maybe more importantly, is all these trails and access to these trails where the
Mm.
kids would likely have continued to walk on easily accessible areas. So, yeah, certainly we're continuing to be curious about it and look at maps and plan accordingly. And yeah, it'll be I imagine another large scale search in the springtime.
Well, if you guys need any help getting the word out or anything like that to find volunteers, feel free to reach out to me. I'll share it on all of my platforms to get the word out and to get the information there, so we can get a consecutive, a large effort out there to try to find some answers, for the family members,
Mhm.
for the little boy and the little girl, Lily and Jack, that are missing, so that they can find peace if they are out there. Nick, I want to thank you so much for joining me. If people want to follow, some of the things that you're doing, if they want to maybe look up some of the missing persons that you guys are trying to find, where can they find you?
Yeah, just Google "Please Bring Me Home," and we have, we're on X and Instagram and Facebook, and we have a website. And if you have information, if you have thoughts and opinions on it, throw it up on our Facebook. We're very seldom do we delete comments. It's okay if we disagree with you.
Yeah, that's good.
Let's talk about it. And we want to hear, even if you think your tip is insignificant. The amount of times that we've gotten tips in is like, I don't think this is important at all. And then it's just like a bombshell. It's like, well, that is important. Go ahead and share it, any of the cases. And yeah, just continue to share these cases. Someone out there knows something for a lot of the cases that we look at. And I just persuade people to continue talking about missing people.
Yes. And thank you again, Nick. Thank you to
Now, I would say if you find something, I wouldn't reach out to Nick, because I don't think they're part of the investigation team, just myself. I don't think communicating with Nick, if you have evidence, is the appropriate way to go. I think you should go to RCMP. That's just my opinion. But I really don't dislike him. It really amazes me that they're talking about the children probably walking on the trails. How did they get there? Well, I mean, Marie, who knows? I just think in this case, you've got, again, which we started this stream talking about at the very beginning. If the blanket was planted, and according to Daniel, the RCMP told him that the blanket was planted, they believe, why could we not assume the footprints were planted too? Is that when Daniel went up to the bush? Did he bring a boot with him to put a boot print down there? Because there's little chance, in my opinion, that the kids walked that far. The blanket landed there, walked that far, and the boot print landed there, but we don't pick up a scent on how that doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, needle in a haystack for sure. Absolutely. Okay, everybody, I was going to play the last video. It's only 20 minutes long, but I talked so much today. We're 3.5 hours in. So we're going to play the madness part another day, tomorrow, maybe. Tomorrow, we're going to start with, and hopefully I'm going to, I don't know if Shannon's still here. I'm going to go to the YouTube that you and Daphne did. I hope that's okay to use all the players that you guys came up with, because I want to go start to tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Motive. Who had motive? We're going to go back to the beginning of all these players who had motive. So we will see you. Yeah, exactly. It's just weird that the boot prints are there and nothing leading up to them can be found. No scent, nothing. It's like, yeah, that's how I feel, you know? That's how I feel. But I'm not, I'm not the expert here. I have no idea. Maybe we're missing information. But to me, it seems like maybe we should be looking at, did somebody also plant the boot prints? Just saying. Thank you. I love you all. Thank you, everybody who donated. And those of you that can't afford to, I get you. Trust me. Just showing up and being here, supporting us here in the community, Jack and Lily, supporting me. I'd love you for it. I truly am grateful for all of you. Do the YouTube things. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. Love and light. Jack and Lily starting back with motive. Hey, you. I'm going to see you before Christmas, won't we? I'm going to see you before Christmas, won't we? Thank you, Jane Doe. Thank you. I hope we will. Yeah. Okay. We will. Yes. Yes. Thanks, Donna. It's like, are you taking off on me? Okay, everybody. Love and light, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Cheers. I love Canadian. Justice in Canada absolutely sucks. Well, it's not like it used to be. And I think that's worldwide. Blessings, everybody. Stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow. Love and light. Thanks for being here.